What a finish! What a man!
The drum roll finishes, and the target is hit.
And it comes on finals night, and it's a knockout push.
Dirty Harrison! Van Velzen!
141.
141 required. Finds that target. Finds the treble 19. Double 12 for a 9-dart finish. Oh, what a shot there from Danny Jansen. Finds treble 17. Finds the bullseye for a 1-2-1 out shot.
And a sublime 136 from Carl Coleman. Beautiful.
Yes. Oh, yes.
On the sixth
Oh,
leg.
yes, indeed.
That is absolutely superb from Jason Heaver, who is the winner of Group C. The Group B action is about to get underway on Series 11. It's week 8, and we've got 10 matches coming your way live from the Modus Live Lounge in Portsmouth this evening. And a very good evening to you. Thanks for watching, or thanks for staying with us if you're viewing the action this afternoon. We've got a really competitive Group B in prospect. We had a really competitive Group C earlier today. Glenn Durrant was there watching it. Carl Wilkinson ended up being best in class.
Yeah, lots of ups and downs with the place today. Another intriguing Group C, but he's the one that just stayed really cool and calm throughout, and was unlucky in the end, Chris, not to win 5 out of 5, but 8 points. He'll have been delighted with that seal victory against Rohan Browse in his final game.
Yeah, and he's a player who's been here before. He spoke in that interview, didn't he, about being better this time, and we've seen that a few players recently.
Marvin Van Velzen is where my mind goes to. It's almost like you've got to come and acclimatise yourself to the venue and what time to get to the venue. But he was very bullish in his interview afterwards. It was a really good interview from him as well, and he expects to qualify tomorrow. But yeah, good group, enjoyed it.
Yeah, 4 wins out of 5 for him, 4 wins out of 5 also for Jamie Kelling. They are leading the race in Group C in the provisional qualification spots. Richie Howson just outside them. We haven't really seen the best of Richie this week, but he's there lurking, isn't he?
He is, and I think tomorrow will be the day we see the best of him. I think he goes away today delighted with 6 points. It could have been better, it could have been a lot worse. He's in the mix, and those head-to-heads with Kelling and Wilkinson are going to be crucial tomorrow.
Yeah, probably 2 of those 3 in terms of Group C. Tom Sykes already through to finals, not having won Group A. But Group B, Carl Coleman, someone Glenn knows well, Paul Hogan, someone Glenn knows well, Jason Heaver, Graeme Usher and Danny Jansen. And I think we should really start with Danny because he's had a magical time of it here so far.
Yeah, I like that word, magical. I think it was a term we used for Conan Whitehead last week, but to be hitting 9 darters here, and he's such a good player. You know, he's recognisable. He's known as the mullet. He's got a great look, but he's also a fantastic young player, and he's one of those players, if the first dart goes, you'd expect the rest to follow.
Yeah, we saw a record-breaking Group A in terms of 180s. He played his part in that and has threatened to do this again. We might yet see him be the first player to hit 2 in a week.
Yeah, I think he fancies it, but watch the reaction. I think he was looking at the crowd there. Unfortunately, realised that there wasn't one. I really enjoyed it. Last week it was sort of the emotion about Conan Whitehead getting it. This week it was just raw emotion, and yeah, he really enjoyed it. He's a top player. He's expected to get through Group B, so it'll be interesting how he deals with that accountability.
Yeah, Graeme Usher the same, but there are players coming and it could be very threatening to that. Paul Hogan's one of them. Always seems to be there or thereabouts.
Experienced. He knows how to get through a Group B as well. I think he plays his best darts on a night as well, and very capable of finishes like this. And one thing that I want you to look at there is look at what Devon Peterson's on there. That's the type of quality that Paul Hogan can do. He's been great in the seniors. I think he likes this best of 7 as well, almost like the county darts, which he's synonymous at. He'll fancy his chances.
Yeah, let's have a look at what the bookies think then in terms of the betting for this group, and they've gone with Graeme Usher as a 7-5 favourite. Jason Heaver 2-1. We haven't really spoke about him yet, but he was through to the final last time he was here. Danny Jansen 4-1. Paul Hogan 5-1. Is there a bit of value in those names?
In the Group C, I got the value right today. I went with Carl Wilkinson, but I really strongly fancy Graeme Usher to win this group. I think it was a magnificent group with Tom Sykes. I think we'll see the best of him as well. So in relation to value, I'm going to go with a favourite this time. Whether or not you see value at 7-5 is down to you.
The other player we haven't mentioned, 20-1 outsider, Carl Coleman. Look, last week you were here with your nephew, Jamie Durran. I believe Carl Coleman, there's a family or a friendship tie there, isn't there?
Yeah, he's more than just a friend. He's, as far as I'm concerned, Carl Coleman is family. And I've got the same feelings in the belly that I did when Jamie Durran played last week as well. He's got 2 matches in the first 3 games. That might dictate how he does in this Group B. He's the big outsider, and rightly so. He's got to embrace that. He'll have seen the fact he was 20-1. He's got to use that as motivation, but it's a big ask for qualification.
Yeah, and we sent you to ask the questions, didn't we? Glenn Durrant spoke to Carl Coleman before his opening match, a tough one against Danny Jansen. Here is what Carl had to say to Uncle Glenn.
Good evening, Carl. 3rd time here at the Modus Super Series. What have you learned from your past 2 experiences here?
It feels a bit different this time to the last 2, but because the players that are here this time, it feels a lot different. I'm not expected to win a game, I don't think, but I'm going to show them all.
Good lad. And Group B, first time playing on a night. Is that better for you? Do you think?
Definitely. I'm a miles better player on a night. I'm not a morning starter like with darts. That's why I struggle with challenge 2s and things. But we'll see.
7 days ago, your best friend in darts was stood there, very nervous. Jamie Durrant, and he excelled. Were you inspired by his performances last week?
Absolutely. There's honestly no better feeling than watching him last week. So I'm hoping I can do the same as what he did.
There's a little homage, a little red and white on the shirt there, I can't help but notice. A little homage to home?
Yes, definitely. A homage to you.
Yeah, I'm very honoured about that. But yeah, you're on first against Jason Heaver. What do you know about him? What are your plans?
Not a lot, really. I'm just going to go and play darts. I've no pressure. Just try and let them go. I'm not expected to win any game, so we'll see how we'll go. Once
again, the whole of Teesside are watching. I'm super proud of you. Good luck, Carl.
Cheers, Glenn.
Yeah, just a reminder that if anybody is having a flutter on the Modus Super Series tonight, please gamble responsibly. It's 18+, gambleaware.org. Paul Hinks, the referee, overlooking the action this evening. Carl Coleman on stage. The 3rd appearance at the Super Series, as discussed. His opening encounter is against the mullet Danny Jansen, the Dutchman who, as we discussed, has had an incredible week, looking to become the first player to strike perfection twice in a week at the Live Lounge. Really fancies it and has threatened it in subsequent days. The Middlesbrough man, though, using John Henderson's darts, wearing Glenn Durrant's shirt, seemingly, taking on the on-fire Danny Jansen. Already been to the weekly finals twice before, and, well, you'd expect him to get there again. And you said, Glenn, that those first couple of games, they played out early in the evening for Carl Coleman. You think they may dictate the way things go for him?
Yes, it was a 6-hour drive with Carl and his friend Daz as well coming down.
First leg, Carl, they're through first. Game on.
And it was interesting speaking with Carl Wilkinson today. He knew exactly what he needed to do. He even knew that the head-to-head of his last game today and his first game tomorrow, and Carl will know how difficult that is. But he reiterated it a couple of times in the interview that he's expected
100
to lose every game. He knows he's the big outsider there. But what I can confirm for you, Chris, breaking news, that is Danny Jansen
84.
and not Jason Heaver. I had one job.
I mean, he will play Jason Heaver this evening, just not first. You've got to deal with the game in front of you.
83.
What can you tell us about Carl as a dart player?
That a 34-year-old, he's very much still learning. Maybe does
77.
too much for darts. He's heavily involved with the ADC in the North East, working tremendously well with Scott Hunt. He has the most incredible following in Teesside right now. So any exhibitions that go on,
49.
Carl is sort of involved in that. It could be to the detriment of his own game. I would like to see him 12 months of not
20.
worrying about others and worrying about himself. But, you know, I travelled the whole of Europe with his dad. He was, my best friend, and, I've known Carl since he was a young boy, and
69.
to see him up there, like I said, it's very, very similar feelings that I was having with Jamie last week. And I know the whole of Teesside went crazy for Jamie last week.
100.
And let me tell you, there'll be an awful lot of people in Middlesbrough watching this man. And if he can get off to a quick start, I think that will settle him down very quickly.
Well, Jamie was excellent last week, has to be said. And he came through a group where
140.
many already had the 3 players penciled into finals night. He disrupted that, stopped Chaz Barstow getting there. But maybe that just adds a little bit of pressure for Carl Coleman. That he feels that
60.
he should follow in the footsteps. Maybe it actually inspires him. Who knows?
It's almost like you're frightened of the treble 20 there. To Rise Smile. And it's double top for this opening leg on throw.
40. Daniel Carr, 164.
164 for Jansen, who's had some fireworks this week, but doesn't get off
92. Carl
to
Carr,
Group B
20.
with a big bang. And Carl Coleman will try and calm himself down here. Double 10. Double 5. It starts to become precarious.
15.
Maybe played
Daniel
one
Carr,
safe and then
72.
over-attacked on the last one.
And it's even one leg like this, you could see the reaction there. Danny Jansen never in this leg. But it's
Each
him
on
that
the first
leads.
leg, Danny
He takes
Jansen.
the opening leg, much to the disappointment of Carl Coleman. He needs to bounce back quickly.
Second leg, Danny to through first. Game on.
Yeah, he really did have his pocket picked there. Coleman.
44. $100.
Yeah, I was watching both players practicing. Both arrived roughly at the same time, settled very quickly.
100.
But as a dart player in a best of 7, missed opportunities, and it was 4 the double for Carl. But fair play. He's back in the treble 20.
100.
He plays Jason Heaver in game 3.
100.
Speaking of 3, there's Danny Jansen racking up another 180, which he's been doing for fun this week. Let me tell you, if you haven't been watching, we had a record-breaking Group A
31.
when they hit more 180s in that group than any other group, including Champions Weeks. A remarkably tough Group A, which Tom Sykes himself said was
117.
the toughest Group A he'd ever taken part in. He won it. He's through. Now Coleman, accurate
81.
until the
Daniel
last
Carr,
start
60.
and doesn't leave a finish. Jansen has time on his side. 60 required. Now tops.
This is where it went wrong for Coleman in the opener.
Getting shown the second leg.
No
Danny
such problem to
Jansen.
Danny Jansen. The young Dutchman takes a very comfortable 2-0 lead.
Third leg, Carl
Of course,
to through
Coleman
first.
needs to-
Game on.
And will be aware that he is playing a player of pedigree here. Of course, Danny Jansen is a PDT Pro Tour champion. As now is Bradley Brooks,
25.
who actually credited the Modus Super Series for upturning his form as he's fought his way back to professional status.
96.
And it does get you battle ready, doesn't it, playing here?
Yeah, absolutely. It was great to hear Bradley. And I think Danny will be using that as his motivation. Danny, as you mentioned, a Players' Championship winner going back to
45.
the 1st of April 2022. And it was no April Fools when he beat Andrew Gilden in a final. And very emotional.
180.
His father was at the venue in Barnsley as well. And I thought it was going to kick-start him from there. We talked yesterday about the fact that when you go into the Pro Tour, it's a bit like a honeymoon period at the beginning, but trying to maintain it. And I think that's the next phase that Danny Jansen will have to go through. But we've seen the
134.
firepowers there.
You get the sense that his dad is a key figure in his darting career and life. Certainly in his style. If you've seen his dad, he
135.
sports the same hairdo. Of course, long hair is in fashion at the moment.
35.
Yes, when things
Daniel
are going your
Carr,
way. And
90.
all this stem from the fact that came out the traps very nicely, did Carl. It's gone a little bit pear-shaped from there. And that
80.
was for a 12 darter for Danny Jansen. Coleman way back on 262.
$56. Daniel Carr 10.
Maybe usable. Overcooks it, but nothing Coleman can
6.
do. Jansen tidies up with the big one.
$81. Daniel Carr 4.
The perfect start for Danny Jansen. So comfortable. A little shaker there tells you everything because there are a lot of missed opportunities here.
Game shot in the third leg.
Before
Danny
Paul
Jansen.
Hinks, look, I didn't dare shout at one point there, but he
Fourth leg,
almost
Danny
just
through
busted
first.
his way
Game
through
on.
those first two darts. Just see him touching his brow there. Was just being on the stage, Chris. It is warm up there, but players, that's how the conditions are perfect.
58.
Yeah, we're getting a bit of a heat wave again here in the UK. We're on the south coast in Portsmouth. For those who are watching around the world, I just don't know your UK geography.
85.
But yeah, it's getting hotter and hotter, and it does kind of trap the heat in here. Obviously, the addition of the bright lights for the TV
58.
broadcast. And some players have struggled. Certainly, that temperature will be raised on Saturday night when an audience descends on the arena. And if you want to be part of that audience, you can be.
30.
Tickets are available via scanning that QR code. It'll take you to dartshop.tv. All you've got to do then is part with
96.
a fiver, just £5. Even I've heard some people from Yorkshire have done that this week. That's how cheap it is.
They've asked to pay £1 a week though for 5 weeks.
Yeah, they don't know it's not a free bar.
140.
You've just got to keep believing when you're up there, but he is up against a player
39.
who has played on the Pro Tour this year, did get an invite. And that was a lot of that stemmed from the fact that he did get to a final of a Challenge Tour this year, did Danny Jansen, before losing out to Stefan Belmont. So I think 2025 has been a good start for
44.
Danny Jansen, and he's now using the Modus Super C as a real catalyst for him.
And we're enjoying watching him. And he may be closing in on a
54.
comfortable victory here where he hasn't really had to get out of second gear. Coleman had those opportunities early in the match, couldn't take them, and Jansen hasn't looked back since.
85. $100. Car 117.
You get the feeling this has to go. It's probably the type of finish that he has been practicing in preparation for what is a big couple of days for Carl Coleman.
57. Daniel Carr
It's all
96.
gone pear-shaped since the conclusion of that first leg. And Danny Jansen misses an opportunity.
Carl
And this is where it went wrong, Chris, for Carl. He was looking good in that opener until the finish of 60.
We shall see if he's learnt his lesson.
Game show on the
He
fourth
certainly
leg.
has.
Carl
He
Coleman.
avoids a whitewash. Coleman off the mark. And that will be a
Fifth
little
leg,
bit of
Carl through
relief.
first. Game on.
There might be a little bit of experience on Danny Jansen there. He's just got a little towel there to feather his brow. You can see Carl just using everything to take the sweat off the top of his face there.
140.
Amazing what winning a leg can do. Great start to leg 5 here from KC.
43.
Yeah, we did see a great fight back today from Richie House, and from 3-0 down to go on and win that match 4-3. That's all Carl Coleman can hope. Just one dart at a time. You see Danny Jansen just
40.
assessing the situation. One big score you feel is coming from Danny here. I tell you.
180.
Big enough for you. His third of the tie. Puts the pressure back on the shoulders of Coley.
45.
And that pressure may just have told.
$56.
I mean, Danny Jansen has been the better player, but he'll be disappointed because his average is under 80 himself at the moment. And if you said to Carl Coleman before this game, that's the average you've got to beat to win the game.
121.
He's got to get away from the fear of playing these bigger players. And Danny Jansen's seen that he's expected to qualify for Saturday night. With darts like that, his fourth 180 of the match. Perfect timing.
Calicar 155.
Well, there is one way to stop him. But it's not going to happen in this visit. Jansen will return at match point.
22. Daniel Carr, 42.
And not under much pressure. Double 16 for the Dutchman.
Getting shown in the
For a
match, Danny
comprehensive opening victory. Carl Coleman will at least be relieved to have got off the mark in that match. He did miss opportunities to win the opening leg, but then Jansen ran riot from there on in. Coleman claimed a leg in the game, but Jansen wins it very, very comfortably. 4-1 success. Coming next, we're going to see Paul Hogan enter the fray. He takes on Graeme Usher.
Charlie McGuire, 164. 44. 32. Charlie required 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls at this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
26. Charlie
Time on his
required
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts, but he'll be coming back.
The moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the stage,
Charlie
approaching the
required
hockey with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think he's gone to bust it, maybe. The first title he won, he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust. And
39.
on that situation there, George Gage wasn't even able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie
Threw the entire
required
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
Georgia require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy. Couldn't get the job done.
The match! And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Skate.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Skate!
And welcome back to Pluto TV. It's Group B time at the Modus Super Series and a very comfortable start for Danny Jansen. Carl Coleman missed his opportunity in the opening leg and never really recovered. And it's the Dutchman that takes the spoils. And one thing about Group B is you'll see many, many big games. I'm looking forward to seeing both of these players. Big fan of Graeme Usher just retrieving his darts against the experienced Paul Hogan. who seems to get better with age, loves that stage. He'll feel confident in getting through this very competitive Group B. And I also get the feeling that Graeme Usher, we're going to be seeing a lot more 180s from him because that Group A campaign was spectacular. Record number, he played his part along the likes of Tom Sykes. Heavy scorer, a real confidence player, but a difficult start in the Scarborough.
Looks like Paul to throw first. Game on.
But it has a real flavour of Yorkshire this week. We've already seen Tom Sykes through. We've seen Carl Wilkinson do a real job. Please don't mention that Carl Coleman's from Yorkshire because that might upset us.
60.
But Graeme Usher, I think, is the real deal, Chris.
Hey up. Yeah, certainly a very, very watchable
81.
player. Really exciting when Usher's on the hockey. Looks like one of those natural talents. He's been around a long time, of course, but in more recent years, he's showcased his ability himself. A tour card holder for a couple of
140.
years. Maybe didn't get the results that some of his performances may have merited. Seems a bit more comfortable
43.
in this setting. Of course, made the final, the grand final of Series 1 when Conan Whitehead lifted the title on that famous finals night. Robin Hood Hogan
80.
saw the funny side of that. And you mentioned Paul Hogan getting through Group B's. Back-to-back Champions Weeks last year
121.
in Series 8 and 9. Through that passage. Certainly a force to be reckoned with.
$26.
Yeah, try not to mention too much of a Group B campaign that he had. I'm still having nightmares about it, but he just
100.
likes the format. I think as a player, if you're going to say that, 3 from 5, are going to go through, if you really fancy your chances as a dart player, and I think that's the way Paul Hogan reads it.
95. Graeme
Difficult start, of
56.
course. I guess the one player you don't open up against is Graeme Usher, but it's Hogan who's down to a 2-dart finish.
100. Paul
A
Lucar,
big
100.
opportunity here for a holder throw. Not anymore. As I mentioned earlier, you can often tell the way Paul is playing.
36.
He wears his heart on his sleeve.
56.
Well, he's lost a dart there.
16.
Should have
Paul
had 2
Lucar,
at double.
64.
Only got 1. May well cost him.
A scrappy opener. This time it's tops for Hogan. Just gives himself a moment.
Gains
Different
from the first
outcome.
leg,
Hogan
Paul
takes
Hogan.
the first leg on throw, but a scrappy
Second leg,
opening
Graeme
leg
through
there, which
first.
surprises
Game
me
on.
for these two. Maybe they're just shadow boxing between the pair, and the best is still to come in this game.
100.
Well, the best is coming quickly as Graeme Usher fires in some naughty darts to kick off leg 2.
100.
Can't carry on the bad behaviour,
100.
but he has taken control. Interesting start, Trey. I was just looking through. You know those 2 series I mentioned, Glenn, where Paul
140.
made it through Group B back-to-back to get to Champions Week. In both of those series, he was the only player
60.
in the entire series, both of them, that won his week starting from Group B.
That is a surprise.
If you look at other series, it's been quite
140.
common, but in those 2
161.
series, he was the only one that managed it. A little quirk.
137. Paul
Usher's
Lucar,
done
121.
almost as good as he could have done there. He's left himself double 12 after 12, but Hogan's hunting for a break of throw. Treble 17 is located, and now he wants the ball.
Gains
And
from
he
the
gets
second
the
leg. Paul
ball,
Hogan.
and that's what Hogan does. Usher hurt
Third
with a
leg, Paul
dart to the
through
heart,
first.
but Hogan,
Game on.
in the heart of the bullseye, doubling his advantage brilliantly.
It was a fantastic start to the year for Graeme Usher and the seniors tour. Of course, losing in the final to Ross
45.
Montgomery. Well, Paul Hogan demonstrating that he is still one of the top players. And Usher was preparing himself to go
140.
1-1. A sublime finish.
Actually, that was naughty darts, wasn't it? That was naughty from Paul Hogan.
100. 60. $100.
Mentioned the Yorkshire theme this week. Who can forget the
81.
referee, Paul Hinks? I think his shift is over, isn't it, at the end of this evening? What a shift he's put in.
It certainly is. I've taken his room at the local B&B as well.
140.
I've heard he had his money under the mattress then. Have a look.
Yes, I didn't think halfpennies were still about.
Pull the card 116.
Well, are we going to see more brilliance here? Couldn't quite find the target. So Usher.
45.
Well, I think this is must hit.
80.
Perfect start. And it's good from Usher. Yeah.
I didn't have you down as a fan,
Fourth leg,
Glenn.
Graeme to through first. Game on.
OMG.
100.
He used to be a very quick player, Graeme Usher, but now he's nice and slow.
100.
I'm removing these. My boot.
100.
I mean, to be honest, you had me at yeah.
I'm quite pleased I got that one in with myself. When the shoulders are going up and down when you're talking, it's always a good sign.
60.
And good signs for Graeme Usher. All of a sudden, it was Hogan out total control of this match at 2-0. But as I say that,
64.
he won't be happy with those first two darts, but retrieve the situation and a ton ahead.
$100.
You can just find levels, Paul Hogan. He's one of those players,
95.
actually, where in his time at the Super Series, at least, he hasn't been that consistent. He's got a great range of performance where he can be averaging in the 70s, but he can also be up towards that 108, 109 mark when he's on song. You never really know which Hogan to expect.
And Graeme Usher does looking to get into level after 4 legs. And as a dart player, when you're playing someone like Paul Hogan, you're hoping it's the 70 averages, not the 1-2-1 and 1-4-1 finishes. Look at Usher behind.
105.
Well, he would have been thinking, what on earth is happening here? Now he can level the match. Tops he chooses.
12.
But doesn't get it.
Hold the
And
car,
Hogan
36.
is happiest when he's on double 18.
Yeah, good game. Both averaging over 90. But
He's
Paul
on the
Hogan
fourth
that
leg.
takes a
Paul
firm
Hogan.
control of this match. He goes one away. He leads 3 legs to 1.
Fifth leg, Paul to through first. Game on. $140.
And another real positive for Paul Hogan, apart from the 140 start. If he does go the distance, he has the
81.
dart in 2 of the last 3 legs. So good moments here for Paul Hogan.
Yeah, takes on Danny Jansen in his next game as well. So one of them, if he does win this one, will be unbeaten halfway through the night. Group B can
100.
really disappear quickly. He can run out of matches. Having said that, usually if you win 4
60.
games, you would be through. Most of the time, you're through on 8 points. So even if you lose every single game on your first night, you have got the chance to put it right the following day.
You just get the sense that Paul wants to get this
123.
done and dusted today. A very competitive group. I think they'll be beating each other.
140. Paul the car 138.
Yeah, it's been a great performance, a good battle between the pair of them, but Hogan's finishing has been on point. He's not going to take out the 138, but he can place himself handily here.
98.
Tees up tops for a 4-1 triumph.
$140. Paul the car 40.
Well, he puts pressure on it. But from the first dart to the last dart, Hogan has looked in a world of his own. Super focused. Super talented.
No score.
Built him up as well there, Chris.
Well, yeah, he almost... What's the darting equivalent of a miscue? He kind of did that with the first 2 darts. Got close with the third. Look at that from Usher. He's laid it down.
60. Polder car 40.
Double 15.
These darts at tops have been a little bit cagey.
Getting shot in the
But he
match,
gets
Paul
it right
Hogan.
on that double 15. And it is a 4-1 win for Paul Hogan against the group favourite Graeme Usher, who goes down and down, beaten well in the first match of his Group B campaign. Hogan had a dozen dart leg in there with that brilliant 1-2-1. 4 out of 9 on the doubles is why he's got that margin. He wins. Next, Heaver takes on Coleman.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. It's Group B time, live on Pluto TV. And hot favourite Graeme Usher has just played his first game of the night, but it was the wily old character of Paul Hogan who really done a number over Graeme. Paul used all his experience and quality finish, and a 1-2-1 in the second leg was a real particular highlight for Paul Hogan. Seen Carl Coleman already today. Not the start that he wanted. We talked about the fact that he played twice in the opening 3 games. That could set out how his Group B campaign was going to go. And to be honest with you, after the first leg, he never really recovered. And it's an interesting competitor in Jason Heaver. He goes into it his second favourite to qualify from this Group B. He was playing on the Pro Tours.
First leg,
Very,
Jason
very
to through
good player in
first.
his own right. But looking
Game
at a
on.
lot of his numbers in 2025, he hasn't really been producing the goods. So he's the one player I'm not really sure how he's going to play tonight, Chris.
He was good when he was here
123.
last, Jason Heaver. Really good. And that earned him a return. Came through as an ADC qualifier, but got booked as a result of his performances that saw him through to finals now and brought an army of support with him, by the
125.
way. Standing room only if Heaver gets through again, based on last time. But there could be a bit of rivalry here, couldn't there, Glenn? Carl Coleman being a Borough boy,
85.
and he won't want to be playing the Soon Army.
$60.
Tsunami, as long as it's not with a capital T, as you say. But yeah, a really terrific player. I was around the circuit.
68.
I mean, he played at Alexander Palace, won a game on that unbelievable stage against Gigi Mathers before losing 3-1 to Danny Noppert. Very, very big scorer. Had a good run in the UK Open also that year.
22.
But it's been a pretty disappointing challenge to a campaign this year for Jason Heaver. And that's why I was really unsure what he was going to bring to this Group B.
97.
Once again, Carl Coleman not quickly out the traps, and Jason Heaver not doing anything spectacular and very comfortable on throw right now. These are difficult times for
45.
Carl.
Jason Carl
This will
128.
test his mentality as Heaver looks at 1-8.
$58. $83. Jason Carl 70.
A little bit sloppy with the last start there to leave a bogey number for Carl.
30.
And this is where the frustration can come in, because he really could have had a shot at 167, 170. But just really struggling with his line and,
44.
line and
Jason
length right
Carl
now.
40.
And Heaver tops for a very comfortable hold to throw.
Game shown the first
And
leg.
that just
Jason Heaver.
kissed off that first start. And it's Heaver that takes it 1-0.
Second leg, Carl through first. Game on.
Just looking back at that previous visit he had here, played week 11 of the previous series in a Group A. We spoke about this week being a good Group A. David Evans, Conor
100.
Heenan, Steve Beaton and Richie Burnett were all in that group with Jason Heaver. He got himself 16 points in the Group A campaign, ended up in Group C, which he won,
140.
losing only one match in Group C. And then on finals night, he got through to the semi-finals, where he was finally seen off by Beaton after getting through his group. So he was very impressive.
43.
He is a player that played on the Players' Championships in 2021 and
85.
2022. Did reach a semi-final as well. Lost to Johnny Clayton, and that's all. He has the pedigree as Jason Heaver. And looking very comfortable
60.
early in this game. Carl still searching.
$85. $97.
A good switch from Coleman. Just seems a dart behind in most of the legs we've seen so far tonight, apart from actually the very first leg he played.
123.
It's just giving the confidence to the likes of Danny Jansen and Jason Heaver.
$58. Jason Carr 68.
Heaver looking to double his advantage, 68. Has he got this right?
Definitely not, unless he likes double 19.
30.
Well, he
Car 143.
still went for it. He worked it out in the end, but I'm not sure what he was thinking with the second dart there. 13 tops would have been the usual order of play. And now he's got to decide whether to carry on going for that target or whether it would be sensible to split.
41. Jason Car 38.
Who knows when it comes to Jason Heaver? For me, that's the right answer, double 16. And this for a very comfortable 2-0 lead.
Getting shot on the second leg. Jason Heaver.
Yeah, doubles that advantage.
Third leg, Jason to throw first. Game on.
Penny for the thoughts of Coleman. If you were able to, Glenn, call a timeout, go down and have a word with him, what kind of thing would you be saying?
I'll just give him a big hug right now because that's what I
100.
feel like doing. But listen, he'll be learning more about himself right now. But that's the one thing I don't think you want to do. This is his third time he's been here. So now it's nice, yeah, you're gaining experience,
60.
you're seeing where you know, them days are over now. Carl Coleman came here to qualify from this Group B. He's had a nightmare start, so he's got to look at plan B. No point feeling sorry for yourself up there. You've just got to dig deep and start
97.
producing the scores. He knows what he's capable of. Panic could set in at this point.
That's a fair point. Victory can be empty. There are lessons in defeat.
60.
You must have got yourself a degree when you were here, Glenn. That's the only one I'm doing, by the way, I promise.
I've had an afternoon of Henry Deacon, and I thought, you know, Chris
83.
Murphy see you tonight. At least it's a night off.
Just remind us both of the caption on the screen that says Premier League champion.
Never
90.
talking about it, Chris, you know, mate. It's about being humble. Why is all the production team laughing at me here?
95.
Alongside a man who once held a sign up saying, I used to be Premier League champion in our studio.
180.
That's better.
Jason Car
Premier
126.
darts from Coleman. And it gives Heaver something to think about here.
And the first 180 of the night for Carl might be just the spark he was looking for.
89. Car 111.
Madness again with the mathematics from Jason Heaver, leaving himself 37. Don't know how he intends to finish that in one.
91. Jason Car 37.
Maybe 6 perfect darts there for Carl. Some bizarre ways of finishing for Jason Heaver, but he knows where this target is.
5. Car 20.
Well, can Coleman collect himself here? Double 5, fraught with jeopardy. Can he bounce it in off that barrel?
10. Jason
Alongside it
Car
instead,
32.
and no damage done for Jason Heaver.
Getting shot on the third
3-0.
leg, Jason Heaver.
Jason not playing spectacular himself and some bizarre ways
Fourth
of
leg, Carl
finishing.
through first. Game
Well,
on.
I guess it's just about the 2 points to settle Jason Heaver down. And it really is turmoil in the mind for Carl Coleman right now. The plan was to attack the first 2 games.
180.
And you just sense there was a little bit of frustration in that 180. He is second of the match.
$43.
Well, this was the point where he took a leg off Danny Jansen, wasn't
26.
it? Almost like there's a slight bit of relaxation once you kind of think the game's gone.
121.
Big game coming after this one. 2 players who both won their
140.
opening games, and Danny Jansen and Paul Hogan, the winner of that game, will really fancy their chances to go on and kick on and get the qualification. But that's the type of darts that Jason Heaver is capable of. '18s is not a bad shout.
91. Jason Car 160.
Excellent execution from Coleman. He's had some strange way of finishing. That was a little bit more routine. It could hardly go wrong on the 160.
100.
no,
Coleman, this has to go.
We have seen it taken out a couple of different ways. This one pretty straight and simple. Coleman looking at 888 to avoid a whitewash, and he avoids that once again. And he really showed that that was something he was determined to do.
Game on. $97.
When you mentioned it, we have seen players come back from that position. And if tonight is going to be a night of learning, a night of progress, and
45.
Why not think about, well, at least get to 2 now, Carl. Break his throw, put the pressure on, because if you can then hold, it's 3-3 and it's anyone's game. It ain't a marathon
45.
at Modus. It's a short sprint, and you're never really out of a match.
Yeah, his last 2 times he's been here, Carl Coleman, he's won 4 and lost 6. His best winning average
59.
was against Tom Cromwell with 86.6 now, but he's been round about that mid-70s averages to mid-80. It would have been enough to beat
80.
Danny Jansen in the opening game. It would have been enough to be in a good position, because Jason Heaver is winning this game with an 81 average right now. Nothing that Carl can't do. But Heaver looking good for victory.
Coming next, the first 2 winners, Danny Jansen
55.
and Paul Hogan, before Graeme Usher returns to take on Heaver. Coleman's 3rd game in the middle of the night will be against Hogan. And he'll end his
97.
evening against Usher. Won't he, Glenn?
Yeah.
$125.
Well, be prepared for a 180 here.
I concur. I think he would have continued in that vein
125.
had he found a couple of trebles with his first 2, but it's 57. So based on what we've seen so far from Jason Heaver, it'll be 19 double 19.
57. Jason Carr, 57.
Yeah, it's been a strange old game for Jason Heaver. His first game of the night. And it's tops for a routine
37.
4-1 victory, but
Carl
just
160.
falling at the final hurdle, and Carl Coleman needs something special right now.
Just wide of the mark. So Heaver comes back
40.
for a
Jason
4-1
Carr,
victory.
20.
It's a frustrated Carl Coleman. He can't look. But it's a winning
Game show
start
the
for
match,
Jason Heaver. Solid without being spectacular, and worrying moments for Carl Coleman. He's played 2 games quite quickly there, and it'd be very disappointing to lose both of those games. So Jason Heaver, still work to be done. I thought he'd be delighted with the numbers when he sees them, but to get the opening victory, that's what it's all about. Jason Heaver moves on to 2 points. 2 winning players up next. It's Jansen versus Hogan.
Welcome back to your dedicated darts channel on Pluto TV, where this evening's live action is 3 games deep, and each of those games has been 4-1. 4-1 to Danny Jansen against Carl Coleman, 4-1 to Paul Hogan against the group favourite Graeme Usher, and before the break, Jason Heaver getting a 4-1 win over Coleman. So the two that won their openers are now about to go toe-to-toe.
First leg, Danny to through first.
Paul Hinks calls,
Game on.
and the action gets underway.
.44.
Yeah, looking forward to this game. Two players who are nice and settled. Pretty routine victories as well, it has to be said. And considering the fact that Paul Hogan's
100.
routine victory was over against the favourite to win the group. You have to say he'll have been delighted with this start, but you sense that this Group B is...
97.
This is the first real big game, because the winner of this one moves on to 2 wins out of 2, 4 points. And as early as that, we'll be thinking, right, what do I need to do now for qualification? And a lot of the damage can be done on day 1.
Yeah, done half the job then, after just 2 matches.
45.
Do make sure you stay with us this evening to enjoy the live action, of course, but also we will be revealing next week's players, and we've got some star names in there.
100.
Getting closer and closer to Champions Week. Shane McGurk confirmed in Group A. Jimmy Van Schie made it through last week. Scott Taylor, a former Super Series champion.
105.
John O'Shea,
61.
Adam Gavlas, Jeff Smith, and Andy Hamilton, all there already.
Now, you said Jimmy Van Schie there. I asked Henry the question this afternoon. Still waiting for the full
26.
answer. But Saturday night was special atmosphere. It was unbelievable.
58. Paul Ducar, 135.
Well, this would be unbelievable. We saw a brilliant 1-2-1 on the bullseye. Treble 20 will give him the chance to go at it again. Couldn't quite find it. That is the miss for Hogan, isn't it? That drift to the
Daniel
left.
Carr, 152.
It is so far. But he will be back for 80.
100.
But it
Paul
will be under a
Ducar,
lot of
80.
pressure here. Must stay straight with the first. And there's the Brucey bonus with the treble for double 10. Those
Getting short the
types of
first leg,
finishes
Paul
what
Hogan.
Paul Hogan's made a whole career out of.
Second leg,
Just
Paul
when
with
you
his
think
first.
you've got him
Game on.
as a player and you stood behind there, you're thinking 80's a bit of a 50-50 shot. And then to hit a ping and 2 darts breaker throw.
Yeah.
Good night so far for Hogan.
Immediate break, and already
60.
looking like he could be the one to beat. We mentioned about value at the start of the show. He was 5-1 to win this group.
97.
Yeah, Graeme Usher is next to us, the favourite going into this one. He's got work to do. If he does a Carl Coleman and loses his first 2 games, then I think bang
84.
goes that real favouritism tag. And right now, it's Hogan that's looking like the player. I do like the look of Jansen this week, so he's not out of this game by
60.
any stretch.
Oh, Paul Hogan
60.
on the hockey. Paul Hinks calling out the scores. And he might be, I was going to say, bellowing that 180 call.
135. .41. .59.
He won't get lost on the way home, will he, Paul Hinks?
.60. Daniel Carr, 150.
Not to be for Jansen. He may complain that he can't see the treble 19 or the green on them because of his
58.
trainers.
.100. Daniel Carr, 92.
For parity here. Lovely bullseye. Gives him a shot at the outer ring.
Game
And
shot on
that's
the
a fine
second leg,
finish from
Johnny
Jansen to
Jansen.
cancel out that break.
You don't see that as much these
Second leg
days.
Danny to third first. Game on.
The elite players are confident that they're going to treble one of the first 2 darts, but it's almost quite old school. I like that way of going 92, especially when your opponent's on that potential 2-darter himself. The bullseye was the real key, and a real solid double 16 to get Danny Jansen going in this game.
140.
A reminder, the winner will be unbeaten after 2. Jason Heaver can do the same when he takes on
60.
Graeme Usher. Who would have thought there's a prospect of Usher not winning either of his first 2 matches? But I think he was the better performer of those 2 players in his first game, arguably
100.
the best performer so far, but just didn't get the win.
Yeah, he's a real streaky player, Graeme Usher. If he was to lose his second one,
58.
I would sort of worry. He's the type of player, if he could win a couple of games, he's going to run away with a certain group. So again, looking forward to this one.
40.
People forget, you remember the winners, you know, many forget the runners-up, but people forget that Champions Week, that Champions Night in Series 1. Graeme Usher was playing absolutely superb darts. Many of
95.
the viewers would have expected him to win the final against Conan Whitehead, but it was Whitehead who took him apart, really, in the decider.
Yeah, very prolific, wasn't he, down at Southampton
60.
as well, Graeme Usher. See, he's a big scorer. So reached the final of the World Seniors, World Championships here. I think that would have been a real lift from a sort of develop. I've seen him grow in that competition.
He
Just
is
fell at the final hurdle.
back in action next. Hogan ain't taking this out, so
60.
having won the first leg,
Daniel Carr 88.
he may find himself behind after 3.
Looks focused for double 7.
74.
I think he wanted to stay on that treble 20. It was such a good marker, but these are the types of finishes we've been talking about with Paul Hogan. He's just so adept at doing it. It's double 18. He loves it, this area of the board.
65.
Yeah,
Daniel
very much
Carr,
his go-to,
14.
but it didn't prove to be successful on that occasion. Back for double 7. Danny Jansen persevering, shifting. Oh, that dart, even though it's out of the way, may serve as a distraction
No score.
because it's in a
Paul
really
Carr,
weird
36.
position and it's hard to ignore.
Yeah, with that first dart, I always think hit the 7 or hit the double. Nothing conservative with Paul Hogan on double 18. It's attack, attack, attack.
No score. Daniel Carr 14.
Miss, miss, miss. So for Hogan. And he continues to go for that target. Will the perseverance pay off? Yes,
on the third
is the
leg, Danny
answer.
Jansen.
As Jansen finds double 7. Hogan, well, kind of
Fourth
sees
leg,
the
Paul
funny
to
side,
reverse. Game on.
but he's not laughing on the inside.
Group B is often the group that shines. But I have to say, Chris, going into the
45.
fourth game, there's a distinct lack of real quality, and someone just put their hands up and saying, I'm going to take control of this group. Maybe it's this man takes it from here.
100.
Well, we know to get excited, don't we, when Danny Jansen does this, because he's threatened it all week and he's done it once already. So here we go. Play it again,
60.
Danny.
$140.
Well, we stayed quiet there without putting the commentator's curse, but you do fancy something happening with Danny again this week. Is that type of explosive player?
140.
I think it's just he really fancies it himself. Having done it on the Monday, he knew he had a lot more darts to throw,
95.
and there'd be every chance of getting another opportunity at the 9-darter. 2 9-darters in 2 weeks. Conan Whitehead in the most remarkable leg last week.
Yeah, I have to say that was a real special moment on that stage.
30.
Couldn't happen
Daniel
to a nicer
Carr,
guy.
86.
Couldn't say that was Jimmy Van Skee that won it overall. Want to be another Dutchman picking up the title as he looks at double 4.
Gain shown the fourth
His
leg. Danny
finishing's
Jansen.
been on point, on blob. Jansen leads 3 legs to 1.
Fifth leg, Danny to through first.
I was a little bit confused about who was throwing first next, but it is him. It's all going well for Jansen. Remember, he lost his throw in the first leg of the match, but has hit back
58.
since with 3 on the spin.
60.
There's the reaction there from Paul. Is this game getting away from him?
93.
Good, solid last start to the treble there for Danny Jansen.
The mullet on the march here at the Modus Super Series. It was
140.
Dutch delight on Saturday night, as Glenn just alluded to. Will we be going double Dutch in back-to-back weeks? 7:30 on Saturday. Do
60.
tune in for finals night.
Just using that first dart just to
100.
guide it above it. Beautiful last dart this time from Hogan. She's on the throw, Danny Jansen. Killer darts.
180.
Couple of maximums in the match now for DJ.
81. Daniel Carr, 110.
Well, he went 1-0 down in this match. He won his opening game by 4 legs to 1. He's not going to get an opportunity on the 110.
40.
Will he be
Carr,
back?
120.
He stayed on the treble 20 there, maybe against his better judgment. Hogan needs to stay on the treble 20, but he fails to find it.
56. Daniel Carr, 70.
Wow, that's incredible.
30.
That's where he wanted to be.
64.
Charmed life for Hogan at the moment. Unexpected opportunity.
$32.
Can't
Daniel
take
Carr,
it.
40.
So now Jansen looking for a second 4-1 win in as many matches tonight. And
Each
that's
on the mat,
exactly
Danny
what he gets. Jansen on top by winning his first 2 fixtures in Group B. The Dutchman delighted. Hogan beaten. Not too much damage done because he did beat Graeme Usher earlier by the same 4-1 scoreline. In fact, that has been the only scoreline we've seen tonight. 4 4-1s. And after the break, we're going to see Graeme Usher take on Jason Heaver.
$54. Charlie McGuire, 164. $44. $32. Charlie required 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls at this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
required
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts. But he'll be coming back.
It's a moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the
81.
stage,
Charlie
approaching the
required
jockey with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think he's
required
gone to
118.
bust it, maybe. The first title he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that situation there, George Scaife wasn't even able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie,
threw the entire
require
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
Georgia require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy.
Get
Couldn't get the job
it.
done.
Got in the match. And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Skate.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Skate.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series live on Pluto TV, where 4-1 seems to be the scoreline of the night and a real theme for the players, and it's Danny Jansen, the young Dutchman who seems to be benefiting most. The 9-dart kid is producing 2 wins out with 2. Now, he had some strange ways of finishes, did Jason Heaver in his game. And probably a strange way now of looking for something on the floor. I'm not really sure if he's dropped a flight protector or something there, but
Graeme
looking
first.
down. But he did win his opening game,
on.
Jason Heaver, but I wasn't really convinced with his performance. This was the player who was a heavy favourite going into Group B.
140.
It was an incredibly disappointing start for Graeme Usher in defeat to Paul Hogan. Even with those 3 darts, it would appear he means business. But Jason Heaver was better than his 4-1 victory over Carl Coleman.
95.
Big scorer. In fact, they both are deceptively quick. But it's time for Usher to
81.
shine.
Yeah, as Glenn said, all 4-1 so far. Jansen winning by that margin twice. The Dutchman seeing off Coleman and Hogan to be top of the table on 4 points after
83.
a couple of fixtures. This will bring the evening to the halfway stage, meaning the group will have already seen its
123.
first quarter completed. Don't forget, we've got plenty more darts to bring you this week. Another double session on
100.
Friday.
Join
Join us from 1 p.m. for the conclusion of Group C, 10 p.m. for the end of this group, and then 7:30 on Saturday night for finals night.
137.
Well, I feel like the night has lacked an awful lot of quality for 5 fantastic players.
96.
But
Graeme,
early
20.
indications of this match. So it's definitely
He's
gone up
on
a
the
notch,
first
and a
leg, Graeme
13 darter
Usher.
for Graeme Usher. As he snatches that dart out of the
Second leg,
dartboard.
Jason
Just
is
the
the
start he
first.
needed
Game
in
on.
this one.
The Scarborough slinger getting in the swing of things, and Heaver will need to respond.
180.
Respond he does.
Much better numbers.
100.
Great pace, excellent rhythm, and I think that's suiting the pair of them.
I wouldn't get too excited about a
140.
Jason Heaver 9-darter based on what we've seen so far tonight. I'd be slightly worried about the route for the 141.
41.
Yeah, if you weren't with us early, you wanted 88 with his last start, and it travels 17.
40.
Well, that was misfortune rather than misfired. And ironically, he's left 141, so let's see which route he goes, shall we?
180. Jessica
Usher
41.
halves his score, but it doesn't leave a finish.
Now it's about the setup play.
93.
And just that expertly well. Usher way back on 180.
60. Jessica 48.
16 for double 16. And that's a good guide, that. He's laid it down as a marker.
Game shot on the second
Expertly
leg, Jason
executed
Heaver.
check out from Jason Heaver, who responds to Usher's 13-dart start
Third
with a
leg, Graeme,
14
first.
darter of his
Game
own.
on.
Perfect on the outer ring, the pair of them. Usher averaging over 104
60.
going into this leg. Jason Heaver also over the 100 mark. So a definite improvement in quality so far in this game.
60.
Each of them with a 180 in their winning leg.
'81.
Yeah, I think as a player, Chris, I'd have to remove that little white bit above the treble 20 there, the sizel.
120.
It's doing my heating right now.
$63.
Well, yeah, what can happen, I'm told, I've not got the skill to do it myself, is you end up almost aiming for that rather than the treble 20.
45.
Simon Whitlaw once famously pinned a fly to the board, didn't he?
43.
Phil Taylor actually was here recently doing a talk, an audience with, and he said he actually used to practice with a piece of cotton.
96.
Thin cotton thread down the board. He used to aim for that.
Yeah, it's a real trick when you're doing a little bit of work on alignment and finding out how straight you can play. But I don't think it's been cotton. Usually people use a little bit of lace or something a little bit thicker than that.
Yeah, I go for a full-size rope myself, Glenn.
40. Graeme 154.
Well, Usher is on it in this game, and they're in.
140.
And that was almost
Jason
an enormous outshot.
Can Heaver have a big one of his own? It's not to be. Usher looking good to lead this match 2-1.
75. Graeme 40.
It'll be 7 visits. That'll be a frustration
Finish
for
on the third leg, Graeme Usher.
Jason Heaver not to have had a dart double in that length of time, but Usher does
Fourth
lead
leg,
the
Jason
game.
through first. Game on.
Yep, going with throw. But that was the worst leg of the match so far.
100.
From Newbury, the same hometown as the world number 1, Luke Humphries.
135.
Jason Heaver. Humphries speaks of him very highly, actually.
Yeah, I think he was excellent on the tour. Just looking at his numbers this season,
180.
it didn't give me a lot of confidence, but he's just beginning to warm to the task as well. I think that early victory has settled him down.
100.
But unfortunately, he's up against a player who's just beginning to get that belief back in Usher, but still tight.
The previous visit was Heaver's second 180 of this contest.
57.
And that 57 does leave him a checkout. Graeme Usher needs to find the treble 19
96.
to do the
Jason
same. And we've got a couple of
164.
big ones on offer.
I haven't been a medium
46.
since 1979,
170.
but I think this goes. Told you. Just pretend it's a 120, Graeme. Make me look good.
105. Jason
118 is a number that Heaver's attempting now. Treble 20, not found, and he can't finish. And Usher will come back to break and take control of this contest.
44. Graeme 65.
I have no idea when it comes to finishing, so I can't help there. But how many times does that happen when you go up with the 25? It's double 6, and it's 3-1 to Graeme Usher. This is why he was a big favourite for this group.
Yeah, the bullseye there, the
Just like Graeme
inadvertent
did
bullseye,
first.
didn't knock
Game
him out
on.
of his stride. He knew exactly what to do from that point. And now he wants to get the job done in double quick
140.
time.
Yes, that is a term associated with Graeme Usher. He is so quick. Doesn't always seem to have a little MSS records, and his name
60.
is often near games associated with speed of matches. And when he's on a roll, he looks as good as anybody.
60.
Good start here from Heaver.
140.
Gets himself to the same score as his opponent, who's wayward there.
85.
It's just a great last start. As a dart player, you think you get an opportunity. When you're stood behind that last dart, really can hurt.
140.
Excellent response from Heaver. Is he going to break this 4-1 hoodoo? 4 matches played today. And if Graeme Usher wins this leg, that would be 5-4-1 scorelines.
61.
Well, a little threat. And he leaves
137.
it handy
Graham
just in case.
76. 68. Jason Carr 24.
Both darts looked in from the eye line, but a chance for Jason Heaver. Maybe thought his chance had gone in this match.
Game
But he's
shown the
very,
fifth
very
leg,
much
Jason
back in it
Heaver.
now. 2 match darts there from Graeme Usher, punished by Heaver.
6th leg, Jason to through first. Game on.
Oh, lovely first start again.
137. 100.
Graeme Usher would have the dart if it does go to the
60.
decider, but you sense he wants to get this done. He wants to get them 2 points on the board.
100.
Some real quality in this game. Both players have been over 90 throughout.
98.
Some real strange decision making here from Jason Heaver. That 136 would not have left the finish.
58.
And it's those little things that could be the one difference between it. Who knows?
126. 100.
Now we're going the distance. This is already the closest game we've seen tonight. Every other match has been done in 5 legs. This one's gone to a 6th and may well go to a 7th.
Game shown
And
the
will
sixth
go
leg,
to a
Jason
decider
Heaver.
as Heaver completes the 80 combination.
7th
And
final leg,
Usher is
Graeme to through
pushed
first.
right
Game
to the
on.
end.
Yeah, cracking game this one. Big scoring and the finishing of Jason Heaver's been a
100.
real highlight. He's 3 from 4, 75% on the doubles.
96.
As well as Usher's played in this game, there'll be worrying times if he is to lose 2 on the spin. And that was a nervy
43.
second dar. Big chance for Heaver. He's already hit 2 180s in this game. What he'd give for another one right now. He's taking control of this match.
140.
And this is now becoming problematic for Graeme Usher. He has had the opportunity to wrap this up. He needs to rally. And that is a right royal rally from Graeme Usher, who wonders where it's been, but he now gets his nose in front in this crucial closing leg.
That could be a happy accident,
95.
that second dart, because he's got 95 in the end. 265, you'd expect to start in the 19s. Some questionable
52.
decision-making here from Jason Heaver,
170.
but he's got down to a finish by hook or by crook.
Cannot hook the big fish, but Usher may
60.
need to pull
Graeme
a rabbit
Carr,
out of the hat here.
126.
126, it'll be treble 19. And now can't finish in this visit. And he's beside himself about that as well. He feels he should have won the game
86.
already.
Jason Carr,
He might be about to
110.
lose it.
Beautiful setup play. We've mentioned some questionable decisions from Jason here. Absolutely picture perfect so far. Match darts.
Being shown
What
the
a
last
finish.
Jason
What a
Heaver.
player. Some real quality there on the doubles in the end. And Graeme Usher will be thinking, how on earth have I lost that game? Well, let me tell you, Jason Heaver's finishing. It's a little fist pump there. But the one highlight, both players averaged over 94 in this game. In fact, Graeme Usher was just shy of 100 for a lot of that match. But 4 from 5 on the doubles. Heaver wins the big game. And it's a return of Carl Coleman next. He plays Paul Hogan.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where this is what's happened so far. Reminds me of that old saying, all 4-1 and 1-4-3. Jason Heaver with the 4-3 win over Graeme Usher in the previous match. And, well, that means that he and Danny Jansen have both managed to win both their games so far. Great start for the pair of them. A disastrous start, you have to say, for Usher, who did have an opportunity to win that game, passed it up. And the favourite to win the group is yet to get off the mark, as is Coleman, but he can change that in the next game when he takes on third place Paul Hogan. Interesting evening. We did see the quality arrive, Glenn, the quality that maybe we hadn't seen in the first few matches tonight in that last one, but Graeme Usher must have left that stage feeling sick as a chip.
Yeah, he's not the greatest of losers as Graeme Usher, and you could just see he couldn't wait to get up that stage, but, you know, I never liked a good loser. But, yeah, time is sort of running out on this opening day Group B. You know, the best they can do now, Coleman and Usher, is end up with a 50% record of 2 wins out of 2.
Game on.
Smile on the face there for Carl Coleman. I think he may have benefited from a couple of games just being in the practice area, but it's now or never, really, you think. And I guess the last player you want to play is Paul Hogan as well, who'll be smarting from his defeat to Danny Jansen. Hogan, a big favourite for this game, and already right in that treble 20 bed.
100.
Yeah, they used to call him the professional amateur. Paul Hogan qualified through amateur qualifiers for Lakeside more than any other player. Then you had the pleasure of playing him there in a famous match.
Yes, I think there'll be a lot of people thinking it took 6 games before we even mentioned that, but yeah, every time I see Paul Hogan on there,
140.
That's where the memories are gone to. He's well ahead of me these days. I think he's as good as ever. I keep expecting to hear that roar from Angela of 45. Super Darts Hoagie.
And the interesting part of that is, I suppose, that Carl's dad would have been there in your corner.
Yeah, never missed a game.
85.
His dad will be watching this now and imagine watching your son up there. A county A level player at his best, Dennis himself. Probably screaming at the TV. Or counting his money. One of the two things, Dennis.
26.
Titus Maximus.
$100.
The Transporter Bridge. And the homage to the shirt I did wear against Paul Hogan at the bottom there, the white stripe.
60.
Well,
Paul
that's the best
Car,
thing about
76.
Middlesbrough, is it? That bridge.
That or a palm up.
Maybe go for that on the shirt next time, Carl.
Gage on the first
But
leg,
it's
Paul Hogan.
Hogan, who cleans up in the opening leg, and it is
Second
immediate
leg, Paul,
break
the
of throw.
first. Game on.
It wasn't a pretty leg from Coleman by any stretch of the imagination.
So it's been quite
140.
kind. But once again, that type of finish. It was 80 in the previous match with Paul Hogan. This time 76. He's so consistent when it comes down to that. But this is a nightmare for Carl Coleman right now.
Well, that's
his first treble.
Yeah, first big treble he's found in the game, as you say. Thumbs up to greet it. But do you know what? If you're going to have a spell where you don't hit a treble, do it all in the same leg.
I would say it was on his throw, though, from being a little critical.
45.
But seeing a lot of drifts into the 5. You can see the frustration is just bursting to come out.
Yeah, I think he's been a little critical of himself as well. And
60.
in darts, you can't dwell, you can't live in the past. You've got to shake it off and get back in the moment.
Yeah, preparation wasn't great today. I don't think he'll mind me saying he
55.
He's booked a couple of accommodations this weekend and went down to, just couldn't get his room early and was just spending a lot of time waiting around. When he wanted some rest. And
45, thank you.
It's been a bit of a horrible day for Carl so far, and this match isn't really helping.
Yeah, I heard he was with you at your accommodation, Glenn, wasn't he? Just
160.
staring through the window. After a while, you let him in.
Double 18, of course.
80.
Yeah, Hogan doesn't look like letting him in this game, does he? Yeah, maybe. Coleman's not
59.
found anything in the match, but Hogan's playing well. First leg was done in 14 darts.
Gage on the second
This
leg,
one
Paul
goes
Hogan.
in 17. That amounts to an average of
Carl is
97.
reverse. Game on.
There's an interesting dynamic coming as well right now. If Paul Hogan does win this game, we'll have 3 players on 4 points, and that detachment will be there for Carl Coleman, who will have played 3 games already. And surprising, Graeme Usher there as well. A heavy favourite. I didn't see anything but Usher qualifying.
Well, it could turn into an absolute nightmare for Usher tonight, couldn't it? If Jansen, Heaver and Hogan all add to their points tallies, he's going to have work to do.
Usher does play Carl Coleman in their final games each, and there's a big game
95.
for Usher against Danny Jansen coming up after this one.
You feel like he needs to take points off one of those players above him, and that's his last chance to do so.
100.
I believe Glenn Durrant at the top of the show said Graeme Usher will win the group.
Do you know, I was feeling quite chipper as well, because I did sort of say Carl Wilkinson this afternoon. I thought was on for a good double.
Still not out of the question, but looking rather less likely
85.
at the moment.
I don't think anyone's been really great in this match. I mean, there's been some bizarre decision making from Jason Heaver, but he's put the best performance on so
57.
far. His doubling was excellent in that game with Graeme Usher. But I don't feel like I've seen the winner tonight. Tom Sykes must be watching,
100.
thinking
Carl
he is definitely the player to
170.
beat.
$40. Paul Car 116.
So 116 can be ended on that beloved double 18. Won't be doing it, but
60.
Carl Coleman
Carl
running out of chances.
130.
Needs something like this to kickstart his campaign.
Just not happening.
90. Paul Car
Fully
56.
expect Paul Hogan to once again believe in double 18. Double 9 for a 3-0 lead.
38. Carl Car 40.
Gives a gift, a lifeline to Carl Coleman. Double 10.
Game show on the third leg. Carl
Sneaks it in.
Coleman.
Halves the deficit.
Fourth leg, Paul to through first. Game on.
Nice touch from Paul. You can clearly see that Carl is not at his best tonight. Just a little wink. I like that.
125.
A solid start from Hoagie. There's that drift once again for Carl. Those fives are hurting
80.
big style. Inspired last week by his best mate, Jamie Durrant. Said he was very, very nervous coming down.
100.
Well, I know you were very proud before we even threw a dart, Glenn, but you must have been very, very, very
100.
proud of what he achieved on that drive home.
I thought he produced his best darts, Jamie Durrant, in the Saturday night, but just what a night. It was a real honour to be here. The best crowd
100.
I've seen at the Live Lounge. Some incredible quality. The atmosphere was second to none. And a deserved winner in Jimmy Vansky, who had something to Champions Week as well. And as we get to
85.
the week 8, week 9, you can smell Champions Week already.
And I have to say, your Durrant to Durrant interview went kind of viral, didn't it? That was cute.
30.
Needs a treble.
60. Paul Lucar, 146.
And that spells trouble as Hogan eyes up a finish that he doesn't even have to take out. He can just leave this nice and return.
90.
He's just been around that 90 average. He's been really solid throughout, Paul Hogan, in this match. And look what he's left once again. There will be pressure.
136. Paul Lucar,
We'd imagine
56.
20 for double 18, but he's changed his MO here, Paul Hogan. Interesting.
36.
And
Paul
ineffective.
Lucar, 40.
Well, it hasn't been the skill set of Carl Coleman. Maybe just a little bit of lucky with his opponent missing darts. That's the perfect marker. He just
Game
guides
show
it
the
off
fourth
that
leg,
first
Carl
dart.
Coleman.
And you have to say, from absolutely nowhere, Carl Coleman is right now in the mix
Fifth
at
leg, Carl to through
2-2.
first. Game on.
A big couple of legs coming here for Carl. His darts, his opportunity.
And Hogan will be thinking, what is it about these pesky Middlesbrough men? Can't seem to put them away.
60.
He may remind me of that Group B campaign. There again, you might have beat me that night, Chris.
100.
Which one? Well, I've
100.
heard, Glenn, that from very, very reliable sources that you're playing good darts of late.
Yeah, I played Carl Coleman at the Riverside, which was not the game I
100.
wanted. When I saw the draw, I was a bit disheartened, and I played lovely. And I think Carl was more happy than I was, to be honest with you.
$45.
I seem to be throwing every dart at the moment. Paul Hogan's gone off the boil.
Yeah, he started this match beautifully,
19.
but he really has been the architect of his own downfall.
You can just see how fidgety Carl is there. He's itching to get to the hockey. And we saw today with Carl Wilkinson, just cool,
59.
calm, measured. He was the one player who was just not getting involved, and Hogan using all the experience. He's had a wobble.
140.
Just a little bit of negativity in the air still. Can Coleman sense that from Paul Hogan? Even a 140 there he wasn't too satisfied with.
60. Paul Lucar, 142.
Missed opportunity there for Carl Coleman. Well thrown darts, no reward. Hogan firm control,
100.
and that treble makes him a big, big favourite. And this would be for a breaker throw. That good feel factor for Carl Coleman hasn't lasted too long. But we've said that about Paul Hogan. He is 2
96.
from
Paul
8 on the
Lucar,
doubles.
42.
It's that type of finish where he's had problems. Back to double 18. Big dart.
Game shot on the fifth
And
leg.
it
Paul
proves
Hogan.
to be old faithful in the end for Hogan. Went back
Sixth leg Paul to through
to
first.
his beloved
Game on.
double after a brief fling with tops that didn't end well.
Yeah, once again, the camaraderie here at the Modus Super Series.
100.
Nice touch from both again. Hogan, can he serve out the match?
Well, that's beautiful, that first dart, but
121.
to follow with the second. Finds it again with the third. You mentioned the camaraderie there, Glenn. Is that
60.
something that you would do? Get involved after every leg, fist bumping and congratulating your opponent?
No. That's why it was so miserable and boring.
100.
Who once landed the winning double, then walked off, leaving his darts in the board at the World Championship.
Tactics.
137.
Who was that against? Can't remember now.
Diogo Portela.
Who has played here at the Modus Super Series, a Brazilian.
60.
Looks a different man these days. Doesn't look like he's playing too much darts. He's super fit. Good guy. And Hogan can see that finishing line.
140.
And the setup play once again from Paul Hogan. He had a little bit of a wobble in this game. There was real hope for Coleman. He missed his opportunity.
50.
Paul Hogan looking good to go on to 4 points to join Danny Jansen and Jason Heaver. It's going to be one match start, and that match start is double 16. And Hogan does get over the line. In the end, a comfortable victory. All smiles all around, which is nice to see there. And Paul Hogan does move on to 4 points. A real separation in this Group B. Real concerns for Carl Coleman right now and Graeme Usher. But it's Paul Hogan that takes the spoils, round about that 90 average throughout. Big game coming up next for Graeme Usher. He plays top of the table Danny Jansen.
$54. Charlie McGuire, 164. $44. $32. Charlie required 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls at this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
required
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts. But he'll be coming back.
The moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the
81.
stage,
Charlie
approaching the
required
hockey with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think
required
he's gone to
180.
bust it, maybe. The first title he won, he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that situation there, George
require
Gay wasn't even
9.
able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia required
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
59. Charlie
Threw the entire
McGuire,
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
George McGuire, 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy.
Game
Couldn't get the job
shot
done.
and the match! And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Skate.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Skate! Andreas Harrison!
Harrison 105. He's gonna get a dart to win it. A double 16 and he only needs the one dart.
Game shot.
Of which he's got tops. Of which he gets.
Double 16 for a 1-2-1 finish in a different route, but it's the same outcome. Andreas Harrison.
He's going to need treble 17, which he gets. Bullseye for the win. Absolutely incredible.
He's Andreas Dirty Harrison! He is back, Andreas Harrison, former Super Series champion, back on the stage. He's going to be part of Group A, another good-looking Group A. Derek Coulson, Steve West, they've both been champions too. Keegan Brown, John Worsley and Tony Sorensen, the Dane making his debut. Kevin Edwards and Kevin Painter. Painter returning to the live lounge. Tommy Lishman, of course, has had a 9-darter on that stage. And Group C will feature Robbie Long, Scott Baker and Barry Copeland. Another great week as the 9th week of Series 11 gets underway. But right now, we've got arguably, Glenn, one of the most important matches so far in the 8th week.
Yeah, you get the sense with Danny Jansen, who's plays the final game of the night against Jason Heaver. I wouldn't say free roll's the right answer, but I think he'd be more relaxed in this game. Whereas Graeme Usher, no more mistakes now, and I did not think I'd be saying that going into this game.
Game on.
Now, Graeme Usher can say, well, I was very unlucky in that match with Jason Heaver. It's been by far the highest quality match of the night. Again, we lost 4-3, but the finishing from Jason Heaver was very highly commended
89.
in that game.
Well, these two have been at it all week, producing some wonderful stuff in that brilliant Group A. You expect 180s every other visit with these two on the stage.
85.
Which probably means we won't get one in the match now. But yeah, the whole basis, the fundamentals of their game, is their power scoring. It's all about rhythm, as Danny Jansen has that little bit of a roll
96.
as he throws the dart.
$95. $64.
No finish for Usher. But he can do the next best with a treble 18.
140.
Interesting decision to say that, because that leaves double 13.
$57. Graeme Usher, 26.
Well, the one good thing with double 30, it's right in the eye line.
on the first leg, Graeme Usher.
No such problem whatsoever. He's great to watch, isn't he, when he's flying?
Second leg, Graeme to throw first.
Yep, 13 darter. Doesn't look like he's enjoying it himself much, but he might be smiling a bit more if he gets the job done in this one.
140.
God, that last dart was good. It's almost like he just flung it out of his hands. He's just one of those players. But good response.
139.
Oh, Glenn said there'd be no 180s. I was pretty certain he would stay there then, but he decided to switch.
I was wondering why you sat forward all of a sudden then to prove me wrong. It's the pace. Just great game.
90.
Yeah, Usher, though, is holding all the cards at the moment. The gambler looking for the first full house.
120.
That wasn't me, by the way. Which is really disappointing because his numbers right at the moment, a leg and a half in, is rather spectacular for Usher.
60. Graeme 101.
It could have been better than 101. But double 12, no problems whatsoever. This is masterful from Graeme Usher. He leads 2 legs to 0.
It's going to be one of those kind of performances, is it?
Game on.
Look at that. 13 darter followed by a 12, an average of 120. This really is naughty darts.
91.
That is your favourite term tonight, isn't it? Naughty, but nice.
60.
And it leaves Danny Jansen on naught. As Usher doubles his tally. Shows how well he was playing, that one
85.
visit can see his average crash down by 7 points.
Yeah, it's the first thing I looked at there. I wonder how this is affecting it.
58.
Down to 110 now.
Come on, Graeme, you're better than that.
100.
You'll probably prove that with a maximum here.
140. 47.
I'll tell you what, if there's
95.
not a 180 in this game, Glenn, I will buy you dinner tomorrow. How about that?
You're buying dinner anyway. I haven't brought no money with me.
80. Graeme 148.
You do like Greg's, don't you?
Love it, actually. Just
81.
creeps into that
Danny
treble
Carr,
20 there
98.
from Graeme Usher. Will he get an opportunity? 98's not a favourite for a dart player. Treble 18 required unless he's going double-double.
58. Graeme 67.
In less than 5 minutes, Graeme Usher
Game shown
is leading this match by 3 legs in. This is spectacular. Just a real joy to watch, Chris.
Yeah, he's come out with his business
Forward
head on
Graeme
here,
is
hasn't he?
reversed.
Full
Game
focus,
on.
determination, back to the wall, and he has come out swinging.
45.
The Scarborough man coasting to victory. But that's a perfect dart for Danny Jansen. Can't follow it, though. And we're running out of time for a maximum
131.
because Usher could have this done. He could be gone in 60 seconds.
Well, still wouldn't break the record. And I used to look at the
140.
Modus Super Series records as the quickest game and see the name of Graeme Usher. But I can see now it's 5 minutes 38. Tom Sykes
58.
versus Brian Raman. Whatever happens, he'd be delighted with his performance, Graeme Usher. He did play well in his previous game.
94.
He just walked into a masterclass of finishing from Jason Heaver, so he'll take nothing for granted just yet.
170.
Are they doing this on purpose? I mean, there was sense in the switch, to be fair. 25 would have left the 167.
56.
But still no
Danny
maximum.
142. 49.
Do you know, if Usher was on a finish here and took it out, he might have just beaten that match time, but we're just now
50.
passing the
Danny
5 minutes
93.
38 that was Sykes versus Raman.
Oh, incredible.
Again, we saw this earlier from Jansen. Bullseye on a 90-something
73.
shot.
Graeme
Can't complete it, though, on this
116.
occasion.
Yes, this could be for one of the quickest ever wins here at the Modus Super Series. What a
Game show
performance
the
from
match,
Graeme
Usher.
Usher. 4-0 in 6 minutes. Absolutely outstanding from the Scarborough. The performance we've been waiting for him all night. He still doesn't look too bad. I think what he's saying is, where have you been all night? He was averaging circa 100 throughout that game, but he'll take the 98.56 and a wonderful way to end it. Follow that, Paul Hogan and Jason Heaver. They're up next.
No, Italian does nothing for me. No.
Like,
As far as I can say, Italian's just cheese and tomato.
What kind of, I like Joe. I'm saying nothing. What we make? I'm not an idiot sandwich, Nick. Oh. You just see it going in. Roller about. A Scottish. Steve, if I could just ask you to pick the leaves off this parsley.
I'm not told.
You definitely have been told. It was advertised 2 days ago. I'm joking on the risotto, mate. It's just, what's going on?
You have to show me then. Yeah, you can have nugget shops, man. I've seen nugget shops. There's thousands of different nuggets. I just walk past it. Taste that.
Do you reckon we go on beans now?
Yeah, on Pluto TV very, very soon. Oki 2 of, and you can catch that full episode on the Modus Super Series YouTube channel. Richie Burnett with a few nuggets of his own, as you would expect from the incredible watch that is the Prince of Wales. He's always a great watch on the stage. He's even better off it. So part of our programming, Oki 2 oven. And we have got plenty of wonderful stuff coming up overnight if you are staying up through the evening on the Modus Super Series channel. There's plenty to keep you entertained. Following the live darts tonight, it is Inside the ADC, the rise of amateur darts. And straight after that, there's a darts breakdown with a certain Glenn Durrant before we bring you Luke Littler's top moments and highlights here at the Modus Super Series. But the last match, the last performance was a real highlight from Graeme Usher, a 4-0 win over Danny Jansen. His first win of the night, but he came out to play.
Yeah, not just the performance as well, but the pace of the game. 4-0 in 6 minutes. It was really the Graeme Usher we've been waiting for all night. But still only gives him the 2 points. And I wasn't sure when I saw the betting.
96.
Jason Heaver was 2-1 second favourite. But he's justified that so far. He's the only unbeaten player of the night. Some funny old ways of going for his doubles, but when he's had a double, he's hit them. But a superstar from Super Hoagie.
Yeah, one of these players will move on to 6 points, but it's Hogan's last outing of the evening. Heaver still has Danny Jansen to play. We've seen a 1-2-1 already from Crocodile Dundee. Doesn't need to take it out with Heaver not on a finish.
Big 5.
89.
He has been going for that double 18, but a little change of mind for double 16. I wonder if that's something he's gone onto the practice board. This double 18 hasn't been his friend tonight. He's hit her a couple of times.
He has been changing his plan, hasn't he? On occasion.
32.
Decides double 16 is the right call this time. That becomes double 8.
Getting shown the first leg,
that
Paul
becomes 1-0 Paul Hogan.
Second leg, Jason to through first. Game on.
We could be a real contingent all coming from the same direction, couldn't there? Tomorrow, Jamie Kelling gets through, and Paul Hogan, and over Basingstoke area. Leave early to avoid the traffic.
There's been an awful lot of talk, hasn't there, about the Yorkshire players. Tom Sykes been there already. But yes, there's a real local flavour right now.
60. $100.
Well, the 180s have been hit in this game. One apiece already. What's he fancy here? Not sure he knows.
139.
Yeah, quite like the bullseye on that dart. If he wasn't going to go for the treble 20, but this is great stuff from Paul Hogan.
140.
Shared a couple of 180s between them. Treble 18. He'll stay there, or he should stay there. For the bullseye.
97. Paul the car 161.
Good attempt. 161 for Hogan. Not going to go. It's that drift to the left again. Just sometimes
50.
in pressure moments, that
Jesse
seems to be the The little flaw in the throat.
Getting shown the second leg, Jason Heaver.
Of Jason Heaver has been a highlight tonight.
Third leg, Paul to through first. Game on.
Sometimes I've questioned some of the setup play and some of the decision making, but when he's had dart at a double, he has been superb.
82. $60.
So going with throw early in this game.
$60.
Paul Hogan cruised into a 2-0 lead against Carl Coleman, who pegged him back to 2-2. And there was a real moment there where Coleman had his real first chance where he could see the winning line. But Hogan, as he does so often, really put the afterburners at the end of that game. So he knows he's got the ceiling there to beat Jason Heaver.
140.
But he is justifying that second favourite tag tonight is Heaver. This is a big game for him. He will play in the final game against Danny Jansen as well. So
100.
An important 45 minutes coming up for Jason.
I did in that Group C campaign when he was last here go through a full session unbeaten. That's 5 wins as well to do that.
41.
And only lost 1 overall in that group.
$60.
Should stay there. 98 points left.
100.
You'll see some players go on the 18 route to take the 8 off there. But he will be back. He should at least have a dart to regain the lead here. But an awful lot of pressure coming from... For a moment there, but he's gone with a 180, Chris.
Wouldn't put it past him. That's a great dart. Double 12. Only needs one at it as well. And Hogan is happier. Hogan is ahead.
Fourth leg, Jason to through first. Game on.
3 memorable 2-dart finishes from Paul Hogan. 80, clutch. 76, clutch. And then a beautiful 78. When he's got those types of finishes, you just expect it to go. Can he attack the throw now of Heaver, who started this one well?
Yeah, well, the 140 there, you would have expected it to be a 180 after the first 2 darts. Hogan might be able to do that.
140.
Can only match his opponent. Turning into a very good game, this.
100.
Yeah, we have a big statistic TV next to it, and sometimes you can look up. There was a period last week, Chris, every time I looked, both
100.
players were averaging over 100. And this is also a game where they're just peppering that 100. 99.92 for Paul Hogan, 98.81 for Heaver. So real quality.
60.
Yeah, everything about this game has been good so far.
60.
And you're going blow for blow in this leg.
$139.
Heaver likely to level. Did have the option for going for the bullseye that previous shot. If he had, he'd be on a single to double finish now.
62.
As did Paul Hogan there. So for me, not brilliant board management from the pair of them. But the way this man's been finished with 1 dart in his hand has been exceptional. It's tops.
42. Paul Ricard, 101.
There'll also be a maximum of 1 for Paul Hogan. Where's he going now then? Right, back to Old Faithful. He's been deviating from this double all night, but when he needed it, it was there.
Yeah, very interesting this time. He just took
a
big step back. You could see what he was doing. He just, all that tension and anxiety in the body. It was a big gasp of air. And that was plumb smack bang in the middle of double 18. Match point to Hogan.
And the numbers are stacking up, aren't they?
140.
The 5th 2 treble turn for Paul Hogan.
100.
Paul Hogan would go top of the table in his
180.
final game of the night. Job well done if he can go away with 6 points.
Yeah, great night's work that. Probably
45.
only a win away from qualification. 2 wins and he'd definitely be through. Tomorrow night, if he does win 3 from 4 this evening.
170.
Never seen a player not get through on 10. Although it is possible, Glenn, believe it or not. But look at this leg to close it out. 11 left after 9 darts.
140. Paul O'Cart 11.
Championship winning form this.
No score. $125. Paul O'Cart 11.
What did he score then? 509 in 10 darts. Double 4 to win it. Snakes in the corner, and that is a very, very productive night's work for Paul Hogan, who, well, when he leaves the arena, he's top of the table. 3 wins from 4, taking his tally to 6. There is a chasing pack, of course. We could get a couple of players joining him on that points tally, but great night for him. Almost 100 average. Coming next, Graeme Usher takes on Coleman.
Welcome back to Pluto TV. It's the Modus Super Series and a good night's work for Paul Hogan. His job is done for the night. He has played 4-1-3 and is sat pretty at the top. Not you can say about the man coming to the hockey right now. It's been a bit of a disastrous night. Hope was there at the beginning. He started really nicely in the opening leg of the night for Carl Coleman, but it sort of went downhill rapidly. And I guess the last person you want to see is an informed Graeme Usher, because let me tell you, in his one win of the night, in his last performance, he was sensational. 4-0 victory in 6 minutes, 100 average. So you'd have to say he will go into it as a real big favourite with Graeme Usher. Good friends. They've played each other a lot, certainly on the circuit in the Teesside area. But there'll be no friends at all when we get up there. Smiles all round. But a big game for both players.
Oh, absolutely. Graeme Usher needs to win it to keep up the pace. Danny Jansen and Jason Heaver are playing each other in the last match of the night. So one of them is going to join Paul Hogan on 6 points. Usher doesn't want to be too far adrift. Getting that win himself over Jansen has put him in the picture at least. But you'd have to say if Usher does win this game, then Carl Coleman would need to win every single match tomorrow and have the biggest comeback since Harold Bishop returned to Neighbours, I suppose.
We might be finding Carl Coleman on the beach afterwards, because he won't be very happy with the way the night's gone. He won't be happy as well that Usher is finding the treble 20.
Yeah, no trouble with the 180 this time, but 163 is no finish.
140.
So we'll be looking to place it perfectly from here.
131.
Like I said, for the fear of repeating myself, it's such a joy to watch in full float. It was a bit of a slow opening 3 darts for Graeme Usher. There was smiles all around between the pair of them. But an excellent first leg from the pair of them. But it's Usher down the double first.
The first leg, Graeme Usher.
But it's going to be stopwatches out again, isn't it? Because that first leg took 1 minute and 19 seconds.
First, game on.
Times that by 4, you pretty much arrive at the time of the fastest match at the Super Series.
134.
Well, Carl playing his part in an excellent start to this match. It'd be good to see him finish with real aplomb. A long old journey down to Portsmouth for Carl.
61.
Well, it would be sat next to you, Glenn.
He didn't. He got on the back seat and fell asleep.
44.
What was interesting last week? What was the more enjoyable journey with Jamie? The one 59. Here or the one home?
He nearly didn't come with me as well, because he was nervous about spending time with me. Uncle Glenn. But going home was great, because he loves the game. And like I said, that was passed across to Carl Coleman. He was sending messages all the time. I genuinely thought it might inspire Carl. And then I looked at the group with Graeme Usher coming down, Danny Jansen. I knew it was going to be tough. He didn't have the start he was looking for. And he's playing Graeme Usher just at the wrong time of the night, you feel, because he can't miss at the moment.
Yep, 2 180s in as many legs. 94 to double his lead and break immediately. That's a good response, though, from Coleman. Fair play to him. Not that it'll matter. Double 10.
74.
Would have hurt. Well done, Carl Coleman, for putting himself in a position to level here.
Yes, averaging over 100 himself is Carl at the moment. Just gives himself a moment as he looks at tops. It is his favourite double, but he has been dipping low. That's a great marker. And well done, Carl. Good darts. 1-1.
In many ways, Glenn, despite the fact Usher was made the big favourite for this group, will Carl feel more comfortable playing him than anybody else in it?
He looks it. It looks like he's gone back to the players' area and he's went, why am I putting so much pressure on myself?
83.
I'm tight. Oh, sorry, that's his dad. I'm tight and I'm not playing my best darts. And look, they were laughing, they were joking, they were slapping. He even did a blind 180 with his final 3 darts. It just looks like he's gone back and said, let's just enjoy this game.
Well, we won't be breaking any speed records this time now. Coleman's got a leg in the ledger. I mentioned Tom Sykes versus Brian Roman, the Super Series record 5 minutes 38. But there has actually been a faster
100.
game in the building, Glenn, and that was at Women's Week. Lisa Ashton versus Rhiannon O'Sullivan, 4 minutes and 54 seconds, but of course that is first to 3. It was 3-2. No, I'm joking. 3-0.
$60.
Yes, looking forward to that World Match Play. The women's is on the final Sunday on the afternoon. And
58.
I think the big thing for me, what my memory last year is, there was a fantastic crowd in there. Of course, it's a sellout with, you know, everybody wants, it's the hottest ticket in town. But that introduction of playing the ladies on the Sunday afternoon has been a real success.
Usher pushing for success here. Topsy wants
100.
Can't get it. Also, Glenn, a fair few of them have played here in recent weeks. We had a Women's Week. Robin Byrne, Gemma Hayter, who won it, all felt that helped them. Bo Greaves, of course, played here last week.
140.
Perfect preparation.
20. Game shown
2-1.
by Graeme Usher.
Graeme Usher could be going away here with 4 points and
Four
be
for
feeling
Carlos
good
reverse.
about qualification
Game
if that's the case. He's had his moments today. That defeat against Jason Heaver, he looked pretty desperate after that. It was a game which was just an incredible finish from Heaver.
100.
But Usher playing his part now, and the fact that he's got Carl first game tomorrow, he'll be feeling good about his game right now.
92.
I guess it's all about qualification, Chris, at this stage, because Usher has that explosive, that ferocious player that is set up for a Saturday night.
Well, I would assume, Glenn, if at the start of the evening, they call him the gambler, don't they, Graeme Usher? They said, look, we can give you 4 points now. You can gamble for more. He would have gone for the bet. But I suppose sometimes it's when you get the points, isn't it? He'll leave
92
with 4 points, which is below his expectations, but because he's got them in his last 2 matches, he'll feel quite good about it.
And you could have Danny Jansen, who'll be going away disappointed because he's lost his final 2 games if he
96.
loses to Jason Heaver. Funny old game, someone once said.
92.
Well, it's a good game, this one. Both players are playing well. Let's not discredit Coleman for what he's done in this one, particularly after the night he's had.
Yeah, that's been his Achilles here,
85.
that second dart. But he's showing all that fight and tenacity here. Looking good for 2-2.
85.
He really
Carlos
has
86.
saved his best till last. Averaging 95 himself, looking for 86 here. Now 82. Well, probably 19s is the shot on 79. He looks like he's going for 13s. Well, hit the treble and he's made the right choice.
I'm with you. I think he's got away with one a little bit there. Very aggressive on the treble 13.
46. Calvicar 40.
This is where it went wrong. Leg 1 of match 1. As we said, he saved his best to last. Double 4.
36. Calvicar 94.
He threatened this earlier, hit the treble 18, but then missed tops and 10s. Now he goes
36.
double-double, but couldn't
Calvicar
manage
4.
to find the first.
Have to be aggressive on the first dart at double 2. That's awkward. You could even be looking just at the side of that double 15 there.
The annoying thing for him is the 2 great darts, aren't they? He's thrown them well, and they've actually
score.
made it harder for him.
Calvicar 58.
I'm telling you, when you've won a couple of games, they go in. That's the mentality. Usher from nowhere.
38. Calvicar 4.
Well, another go for Coleman here. A pair of 2s. So again, it's good, but blocks the target
James
a little
on the
this
fourth
time,
by Cal
though.
Coleman.
He holds his nerve and his throat and squares up
Fifth
the
by
tie.
Graeme to throw first. Game on.
There's an interesting dynamic with the fist pumps. Yes, they're excellent friends.
121.
But if Carl can take this leg, I don't think there'll be too much smiles from Graeme Usher after that, because all that hard work that he did with that incredible performance
45.
in the last one could be his only win of the night.
Lovely dart.
180.
Lovely darts, plural. 3 now for Usher. in terms of the maximum tally in this tight.
121.
The trebles haven't been a problem.
140.
Beautiful. 5 perfect darts. 180, 140. To leave 60 after 9. This is what Usher's all about. I was getting a little bit nervous for Usher in a sense that 2-2 and smiles all round.
50.
He's hit a treble in most of his scoring visits in this game, Graeme Usher. That's a... Oh! Well, is it the time to try that, Glenn? Is there ever a time to... Because look what he's left by doing it. And Graeme Usher's kind of let off the hook there, isn't he? Double five's not easy. He makes it look easy. But had Carl Coleman stayed straight, carried on looking at the dartboard, he would have left a finish.
That's the decision he's made. Almost treating it like an exhibition. I mean, this has been by far his best game. There's his argument there.
123.
I remember a game in the Premier League many, many years ago when Adrian Lewis was trying that. He was trying it every shot. He even tried it at doubles at one point, and Raymond van Barneveld was his opponent, took umbrage to it. But I'm not sure. When you've won 3 out of 3 maybe, but when you've lost 3 out of 3, is it the right way to go?
100. Thank you. 41.
It is reminiscent of when you played in Group B, Glenn, isn't it? You weren't looking at the dartboard of yourself, were you?
140.
I was even going to tell the joke about myself there. That's how things have got bad sat here these days.
Well, it could be over as Usher eyes up 1-2-1.
60. You're in the car, 121.
Yes, I think he's demonstrated all his qualities. There's been smiles in this game, but when he's had to put the afterburners, it's been there. Could be a happy accident, that one.
81.
Shows a lot of respect there to Carl Coleman. This probably will be his final 3 games on what's been an incredibly difficult game.
Yeah, there would have been a temptation to go for that bullseye. Maybe a temptation to go for it and look away as he threw it as well. But it's tops. He's kept his focus. He's kept his calm despite losing his first couple of matches. The gambler is back in the game. Graeme Usher wins his closing 2 contests and takes his point tally to 4. Second in the table now behind the leader, Paul Hogan, who's ended his night on 6. Danny Jansen and Jason Heaver will go head-to-head next. They're both on 4 before that one. The winner will end up in second. But as for Carl Coleman, it's no points tonight.
$54. Charlie McGuire, 164. $44. $32. Charlie required 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls of this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
required
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts. But he'll be coming back.
The moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the stage,
Charlie
approaching the
required
hockey with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone
Georgia
I think
require
he's gone to
180.
bust it, maybe. The first title he wanted 20, he went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust. And
39.
on that situation there, George Gay wasn't even
9.
able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie
Threw the entire
require
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
Georgia require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy.
Go
Couldn't get the job
it.
done.
Got out the match! And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Skate.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Skate!
And welcome back to Pluto TV, the home of the Modus Super Series. It's Group B time. It's the final game of what's been a really quick night and a really good night for Paul Hogan, who sat pretty. Graeme Usher finally, after 2 defeats, then put on a couple of performances that we really expected from him. He's also looking good for qualification. But for that man in your picture, Danny Jansen, has started also perfectly well tonight. Couple of early wins, but his third game did end up in defeat, so this one's a big game because if he can get himself to 6 points, he'll be feeling he's dipping in his toes for qualification. But Jason Heaver's played well tonight. His finishing's been a bit of a real highlight. Some of his setup play, decision making has been a bit questionable. But Chris,
game on.
I see this is a real 50-50 game. I've been impressed with Heaver tonight.
Yeah, whoever wins it is going to be edging towards qualification, but I say that with a little bit of trepidation because it's going to be so close between 4 players that we might see a
121.
situation where somebody does miss out on, say, 8 points in this group. So very, very interesting tomorrow. Do join us again from 10 p.m. to see how it all concludes, from 1 p.m. for the resumption and indeed conclusion of Group C. And as Glenn said, we've flown through the 10 fixtures tonight.
60.
We'll be off air slightly earlier than planned, but do not fear, we have a full 24-hour schedule of programming for you. We'll be
60.
going inside the ADC at the end of this evening's live action. That's the Amateur Dart Circuit, who have provided a lot of superb players for
50.
the Super Series, including, of course, Tom Sykes, who's through to finals night on Saturday. First appeared as an ADC
45.
qualifier.
Yeah, it's great to see Andreas Harrison here next week as well. He's a real firm favourite. For me, still one of the great moments with that spectacular finish against Cameron Crabtree. He himself been an ADC qualifier next
100.
week. I think he'll fancy his chances. He's one of those players he just looks a different player when he gets on that stage. Feels so much at home
60.
now.
Jason Car 170.
But we haven't really seen an enormous outshot tonight. We've seen some ton toppers. He doesn't have to go for this. Should he get the opportunity? He might get the opportunity. We will never know.
80.
Yeah, we've got that.
140.
Just
Jason
nodding his
Car
head there,
90.
Danny Jansen. First treble for a while. Like I say, it's been a good start. Some of the questions, I mean, really 15 bulls should be the shot here from Jason, but we've second-guessed him a couple of times tonight. I mean, it's aggressive, and it works
Finish
out
on
well,
the
because I
first
tell
leg,
you what,
Jason
when he
Heaver.
does have a dart and a target of a double, he's been brilliant
Second leg, Danny
tonight.
to through first. Game on.
I don't remember having this conversation watching him previously about his counting and his decision-making.
57.
Well, one thing I will say is last time he was here, but he basically said he'd hardly been playing darts, and I wonder if sometimes you just get a little bit out of practice with those patterns.
100.
That's a good shout. It looks like he's up for it, though.
134. $85.
Yeah, big prize to the winner on Saturday. Tom Sykes already sat pretty.
94.
You have to say from Group C, it does feel like it's 2 from 3. Richie Howson looking good. Jamie Kellen was superb today. And Carl Wilkinson, real fight and
55.
talk in his interview afterwards. Paul Hogan will be feeling good. Graeme Usher knows his game is there. That's why this one's a really
100.
big game. And the first game tomorrow night will be these two first up. So an important couple of matchups with a pair of these that could determine their qualification.
And if you're wondering about the size of the prize, if you're new to the Modus Super
60.
Series, each
Daniel
weekly
Carr,
winner gets
116.
£5,000. That dart on the money by Danny Jansen. What a
He's on
finish
the
that
same
is. What a
leg, Danny
response to
Jansen.
square it up. Brilliant shot from the Dutchman. But yeah, the
Phil
weekly winners
James
get
is the first.
£5,000. They
Game
then
on.
go through to Champions Week where the winner gets £25,000. There are 3 series a year. And if you win Champions Week, you also qualify for the Global Championship where the winner gets
28.
£60,000. So there is an opportunity, if we had a dominant player, to win £150,000
125.
in a year at the Modus Super Series and ADC Global Championship.
Wonderful. And it's turning out to be one of the best series. I like the mixture of the players who've qualified already. Some real standout players, some real experience, some up-and-coming players.
45. $140. $57.
Lovely. He knew the last start was going, didn't he?
Jason Heaver, a player who's still playing on the Challenge Tour this year
48.
without real
Jason
success.
Carr, 58.
But he's the one that's impressed me most tonight. And usually, when he's down to a double, I say usually, because I didn't want to put the
Gains from the third
commentator's
leg,
case, but
Jason
his
Heaver.
doubling has been wonderful.
4-fake Danny to through first. Game on.
Yeah, in this match, 2 out of 3.
100.
Jason Heaver, including that lovely 90 combo at the start. Reminder of the situation in Group C, which gets back underway
58.
from 1 p.m. tomorrow, where it's Carl Wilkinson leading the way on 8 points, tied with Jamie Kelling. They're the top 2. Richie Howson on the shoulder. Dan Hans and
60.
Rowan Browers with outside opportunities. Tommy Morris, a late replacement, and well, the lack of preparation time showed really no points on the board for him, and out of the race.
140.
Out of the race, I just have a real feeling that Tommy can play a part of that spoiler role, because on his day he can beat any player in that group.
140.
Carl Wilkinson said that, didn't he, himself, that it changed the whole dynamic when Tommy Morris walked in the room
45.
this morning.
Yeah, he says he's a big character and certainly made himself felt early doors, but just didn't have the dart. A couple of 4-3
85.
defeats as well. It could have been different. But it was an exciting Group C. At times Group B today, I just thought it lacked a bit of quality. I think Graeme Usher, Paul Hogan really grabbed this group.
60.
Both
Daniel Carr,
sat in a good position
160.
overnight.
$56.
Jason Heaver there, tying his left foot, but it was right that was undone.
95. Daniel Carr 60.
For 2-2. Does he have to move? Just the right-hand side. Just a smidgen.
50. Jason
Outside
Carr
chance here for Heaver.
103.
One of those opportunities where you don't expect it. He's got the treble. He's going to get a dart to lead this match 3-1. And the way he's been finishing.
83.
You expected
Daniel
it to go.
Carr 10.
And I'm sure Danny Jansen did as well. He gets a reprieve. He's making sure everything is present and correct here. And that paid off.
Danny Jansen.
Measured that dart. And landed it in the double for deadlock at 2-2.
Game on.
Yeah, we said at the beginning of this game, it's been a real quick night. Lots of one-sided games. Just the one match that went the distance. And that did involve Jason Heaver, who won a real beauty of a game against Graeme Usher by 4-3.
76.
It's very possible because there's nothing to separate these two right now.
I'm looking at this group now.
140.
I really think someone might miss out on 8 points tomorrow. I think 4th place might have 8 points. We have had that situation on occasions
100.
before. We've also had a situation where a player went through on 4 points.
$93.
That was Rob Collins, who lost his first 6 matches and still got through.
Wow. 180.
Two 180s in this game.
58. Jason Carr 145.
Coming from this man. Treble 15 for double top.
125.
And he's threatening the 3-figure finishers time after time.
59. Jason Carr 20.
You can't see any possibility that he doesn't take this out with 3 in hand, and in fact, he gets it in 1. Not that Paul Hinks has seen yet.
Like Jason Heaver.
Now, there is a reason behind that. I'm going to give Paul Hinks a full defence here. If he's not sure, the last thing he wants to do is stick his head in the way. When the guy's still got 2
36
sharp, pointy objects in his hand that he's about to throw in that direction, potentially. But you know, as a player, the last thing you want to get is distracted.
Absolutely. I'd be furious if it wasn't. And then you've got the referee sticking his head in and out there. So everything was done correctly there.
100.
As Jason Heaver was going 1 away. The in-play table shows it's looking good for Hogan and Heaver right
45.
now. And maybe, just maybe, one of Usher and Jansen may not qualify come tomorrow.
Yeah, fair point.
140.
Who'd have thunk it?
$100.
Heaver has taken control. 60 points plus these against the throw. 1 treble you feel could be enough.
43.
But not that treble.
Closing in on the win here, Jason Heaver.
95.
It was all looking so rosy for Jansen at the start of the night. 2 big wins, but 4-0 defeat to Graeme Usher.
140.
Now staring down the barrel of a 4-2 loss to Jason Heaver.
Yes, it's all gone pear-shaped. He'll have to bounce back tomorrow because he won't fancy his chances of coming back because Heaver has been exceptional at this part of the game. Perfect marker. Perfect performance. Jason Heaver has been superb tonight and he joins Paul Hogan on 6 points. He'll be delighted with that return. The mullet will be slightly disappointed. He won his opening 2 games of the night, but just flattered to deceive at the end of it, so work to do. But a great night's work for Jason Heaver, so he crunched down the numbers. Very, very solid at the scoring, excellent at the doubles. Heaver will be delighted with his performance, and we'll be chatting about Group B after the short break.
Welcome back. Well, if you're just tuning in, you might be expecting to see the last game or two, but we have flown through this evening's action because of a lot of one-sided matches, but it's certainly not a one-sided group. Graeme Usher with a 4-0 win over Danny Jansen. That was Usher's first victory of the night. He then beat Coleman 4-2. Coleman didn't get any wins this evening, but it's Paul Hogan and Jason Heaver who will be the happiest. Hogan's 4-1 win over Heaver and then Heaver's 4-2 victory over Danny Jansen mean that pair have amassed 6 points from a possible 8 this evening. Graeme Usher fighting back to end up on 4. Danny Jansen will be disappointed with 4 after winning his first 2 games, and Carl Coleman unable to pick up a victory on his return to the Super Series tonight. Glenn Durrant knows him well. We'll start with Carl, get that one out of the way. A disappointing night for him. How will he be feeling now, and what should he be thinking about ahead of tomorrow?
Yeah, do you know, honestly, went a little bit pear-shaped this morning. He was transferring accommodation, couldn't get into it. He was, it just, when you look at preparation, and I think that showed a little bit tonight. I just think in the last game he decided, look, I'm just going to enjoy this game. I'm going to treat it almost like an exhibition. It provided his best game. There was a couple of ropey decisions with the blind 180s, but a disappointing night. I'm gutted for him.
From bottom to top, let's talk about happier times. Paul Hogan, great night for him. He's just that kind of player who manages to get victories, doesn't he?
Terrific. Honestly, you know, I'd give him a real solid 8 out of 10. He just used all his experience in the world. I mean, just look at what Usher's on at this point. And the treble 17, we even got a little bit excited in the comms box. It went plumb right in the bullseye, and that was the period where Graeme Usher was struggling a little bit, but much to the credit of Paul Hogan. He was excellent tonight. Yeah,
we said he might represent good value at 5-1. He's shown that. Jason Heaver, eyebrows were raised when he was made second favourite, but he certainly lived up to that billing.
I think the eyebrows is what raises because I was looking at his form and there was nothing to suggest he was a 2-1 for this group. And in fact, you know, he hasn't earned a penny on the Challenge Tour this year. I knew he had the pedigree. He was on the tour around about the same time I was playing, and he was a terrific player. His doubles tonight. Some of his decision making on the finishing was interesting, but if he had a double, he was excellent. And that was a big win over Graeme Usher for me. That was the game of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. And how important could the last match as well be when he beat Danny Jansen there?
Yeah, Danny just seemed a little bit off-piste with that last game there. It is the first game tomorrow night, but again, much to the credit of this man. He was so solid, great marker on the double 12. You just knew it was going to go the way he was playing. Liked his reaction as well. You know, this is a guy who's played at the very top of the game. He's quite understated, but as you see, he shakes the hand of Paul there. Look at that's what it means to him there. He's impressed me. For me, he was the player of the night.
Yeah, it could be an anxious evening now, couldn't it? An anxious night's sleep for Danny Jansen, who's put a lot of work in, being one of the stars of this week. There's no guarantee he's going to get to finals night.
Yeah, you've got 2 players. You've got a player on 4 points who won his first 2 games, lost his last 2. He's going to be sick as a chip as he goes out there. Like I said, all started so brightly. But the old-fashioned route on 92 there for Danny. He was looking good at this point, but those final 2 defeats, they'll sting.
And you're saying about Graeme Usher the other way round?
Yeah, he did play a second game where he was terrific, but he just walked into Jason Heaver's masterclass of finishing. He provided the main numbers tonight. There was one game, his third game of the night, where we were looking at the record books and 6 minutes and 1 second for a 4-0 victory. This is what he can do. At times, he just looks just so effortless. The game's so easy. He's so almost berating himself back because he knows what he can do. You can see him there. You know, where's that darts been? He's impressive. I think he'll kick on tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't think that at the start of the night either of us would have thought that we'd be saying one of Usher or Jansen might not make it, but it's looking like that could be the case.
Yeah, I had a chat with Henry Deacon this afternoon. He was pretty adamant that, you know, them two, after watching them in Group A as well, will go through, and it was one from the other 3. Well, it's going to be very tight because of the fact that Carl is sat on 0 points, which as a neutral makes it a really exciting night, but there's a real fear that Jansen or Usher could not get through, and we wouldn't have saw that coming.
Yeah, another double session tomorrow. We'll show you both group tables, starting with tonight's Group B, and this is how it ends up. I mean, we've just said maybe one of Usher or Jansen misses out. I've said in commentary, I think someone may well miss out on 8 points, which is quite rare actually here. Looking at it now, do you think that Hogan and Heaver have done most of their bidding this evening?
Yeah, most. Like I said, there's I think Jason Heavers, can he replicate that finishing tomorrow? Paul Hogan, I'm pretty certain, will do what he needs to do tomorrow. Carl Coleman, you know, it's the spoiler role now. We'd expect to at least win a game. He doesn't want to go home losing 8 out of 8 there. Usher will kick in straight away there. It's Danny Jansen I have the little bit of a fear for. And you want him in there on a Saturday night. Good young Dutch player. But I think we've got a couple of players who are happy overnight in Hogan and Heaver.
In the afternoon, Group C will resume. That gets underway from 1 p.m. UK time. Carl Wilkins and Jamie Kelling tied at the top. 2 go through from that group rather than 3 in Group B. Richie Howson sitting in 3rd place. How many players, Glenn, do you think are actually in contention to qualify?
3. I would love to say that Dan Hans I've been really impressed with. I hope we see him back at the Modus Super Series. He's plays with real flair. At times he can make the game look really easy, but I don't see him running through the cards. I see a much better performance from Richie Howson, almost like the fact that he realised they're like knockout games for him now after losing a couple of early games. Kelly was superb, Carl Wilkinson was solid. Group C the past couple of weeks has been brilliant.
Richie Howson's an interesting one actually, because he seems to do really well amongst legends. He won the Legends League here. He's been brilliant on the seniors, but yet to pick up that Super Series weekly win.
I keep saying yet because, I mean, everybody wants him to do well. He's such a popular player, and a 59-year-old. He's arguably playing his best darts. He's been a star on the seniors tour, but I think he's getting a little bit greedy as well now, and he wants success up there. And I wouldn't doubt him tomorrow. I think he'll have been delighted overnight with 6 points, and he's got some big games tomorrow.
Jamie Kelling has had success on that stage before. He always looks pretty comfortable here, doesn't he?
He does. He plays a lot of ADC vaults. That keeps him ticking over, but he's not doing Challenge Tour. He's not doing any county darts now. Coming to the Modus Super Series is his highlight, his priority. He had such a difficult first game. He dominated Rohan in that first match, and I thought his head could have gone down. But he picked up with 4 wins on the spin, and another good-looking thrower, you know, effortless when he's at his best there, and produce some really good stuff. He'll fancy his chances.
And I know you liked the confidence of Carl Wilkinson, who also won 4 out of 5 this afternoon. Do you expect him to finish a job?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Carl. You know, he's the type of player where that stage is made for him. You know, very local league, very Yorkshire captain, county. He's the belt holder in the ADC for Yorkshire and Humberside as well. But I want to see him play on the stage more. He's got that Yorkshire grit about him, and like I say, he spoke really, really well in the interview. And 2 from 3 for me.
Look, earlier tonight we announced next week's lineup and the fact that the former champion Andreas Harrison will be back here at the Live Lounge. He's in a tough group as well. Derek Coulson, who's been excellent every time he's been here. Steve West, one of the most prolific winners on that stage. Keegan Brown, first year without a tour card and playing here at the Super Series. John Worsley's won before as well. Tony Sorensen making a debut. Kevin Edwards, Kevin Pater and Tommy Lishman in Group B. And Group C, Robbie Long, Scott Baker and Barry Copeland. Just give us a couple of names, Glenn, that really jump out for you and that you'd be interested in watching next week.
Well, generically, I like Group A again. I like Derek Coulson. I think he's a player who's very understated, very underrated, and that Group A, I could talk about all of them. But there's one game that just is standing out for me. It's in Group B, and it's Essex v Essex, and it's a real old school of Kevin Edwards and Kevin Painter. I mean, they'll know each other so well, and that's a game for me, and it's putting a smile on my face as I'm answering that as well. So another great week. There's a real mixture of players there.
And we saw Kevin here at the World Seniors Champion of Champions Painter, that is. He's had his trials and tribulations, suffering with dartitis. He's doing everything he can to work through it. Didn't get the result against Mervyn King last time he was on that stage, but we did see signs that he was overcoming that problem.
I hope he does. I mean, I don't think there's any miracle cure. I mean, the PDPA, which I do a little bit of work with, have been supporting him as well with the dartitis, and you know, whether it's that real mental battle. I've done some exhibition work with him as well, and it's difficult to play against him, but very brave to get up there. I'm glad it's Group B, so it's not like a full week there. We all want Kevin Painter back playing, you know, to the best of his ability.
Steve West, interesting one. 5 titles here. He saw Jimmy Van Ski get to 4, didn't he, last week? He'll want to be winning another.
Yeah, and who's going to doubt him for doing that? Because you know, he just knows how to win here. Again, smile on my face because Steve West is that type of player. There's always sort of something around him as well come Saturday night, whether it's a shout in the audience, but he lets his darts do the talk, and probably another 9 darter from him as well to make it 3 weeks in a row.
Keegan Brown, who's played a couple of weeks already, yet to make a finals night. Is that a surprise for you?
Yeah, Keegan is someone I sat with on the Pro Tour. I think he's had a difficult time. He's been watching his county stuff, and he's playing some good stuff at times, so maybe the worst is behind him. So really keen to see how he's playing. He's even dabbled with a little bit of commentary as well, but darts is where the heart is for Keegan. So interested, very similar to Jason Heaver tonight, sort of keen to see how he's doing based on the stats that he's providing right now.
Let's just get your final thoughts on what we saw tonight and how that could manifest tomorrow. Who are you feeling quite confident about? Who are you worried about?
I like Paul Hogan tonight. I thought it was a really disappointing start to the night of Group B. It's not often we say that because they're usually littered with quality there, but it was Graeme, Usher who suddenly started producing the numbers. Super solid performance from Paul Hogan. I thought he was terrific tonight. Jason Heaver was the masterclass of finishing there. I think Danny Jansen and Coleman will be the two slightly disappointed going away. Coleman will play that spoiler role now. We're looking at 3 from 4. Group B is very, very tight.
I think you might have a phone call to make or a text to send, so I'll let you go and do that. Thanks, Glenn, for your company today. Plenty coming up on the Modus Super Series channel on Pluto TV. Straight after this live broadcast, we are going inside the ADC. That's the amateur dart circuit, which has provided many fantastic players here at the Super Series. Tom Sykes, who's through to finals, like Marvin van Velzen, started with that route as well. Of course, went on to win a series and get a tour card. Straight after that, Glenn Durrant will be delivering a darts breakdown. And then the live action resumes tomorrow, Friday, from 1 p.m. Group C gets back underway. 2 players will qualify for finals night. 3 players will make it through from Group B tomorrow night. That finals night takes place at 7:30 on Saturday night. Tom Sykes already there, and Andreas Harrison returns Monday morning, 9:30, bidding for another tilt at a Super Series title. It is darts round the clock here on Pluto TV. Stay tuned.
What a finish! What a man!
The drum roll finishes, and the target is hit.
And it comes on finals night, and it's another
Dirty Harrison! Charlie McGuire, 164. 44. 32. Charlie required 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls at this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2 darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
required
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts. But he'll be coming back.
The moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the stage,
Charlie
approaching the
required
hockey with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think he's gone to
180.
bust it, maybe. The first title he won, he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that situation there, George Gage wasn't even
9.
able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie,
Threw
you
the entire
require
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
Georgia require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy.
Got
Couldn't
it,
get the
gets
job
it.
done.
Got out the match! And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Skate.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George